I put on pants, you know, in the morning, and then you go in and you have just shitty match after shitty match after shitty match. And it's like,
why can't they change things? Why can't they be a bit more flexible with that stuff without insulting people that like the game?
again, if that offended you, good, get over yourself. You're gonna be all right.
I've been told that they've been deleted, and I don't believe that. I think
That is
lies.
objectively. I think if they're listening to this podcast, you should be ashamed of yourself. You created so many issues. Dude, I've had to cut people out of my streams. Like
That was a very like deep question for me to ask you. It's like,
no. Quick reminder, if you want NGNG merch, you can grab it at nogutsnogalaxy.net. Gear made for BattleTech fans. Link is in the description, and free US shipping on orders over $75. We're live right now. I'm recording. Yeah, I know, right?
We're going.
Not live, but like we're recording. Anyways, welcome, man.
Thank you.
For those that you want to introduce yourself for those that don't know.
Yeah, I'm Improvise, Louie. I make MechWarrior content, and I've been doing so for a few years now. I kind of started late compared to most people, but we're here still making MechWarrior content, keeping the game alive, and yeah, nice to meet you all. Hello.
Yeah. Obviously we'll have a link to your channel down below, and if you guys are looking for MWO content, just go to that link or just go to YouTube and MWO Improvise. This has been a long time coming. I am envious, man. I'm envious of people like yourself, Beef and others that just have a knack for finding humor. And so let me first ask, do you script your videos, or is it all by feel? Like, how do you go about one of your MWO videos?
None of it's scripted, so it's obviously I record the games as I stream, so it's all live anyways. It's just, you know, piecing together, making a story out of nothing and seeing what I can kind of come up with, that's the longest thing. That's the thing that takes the most time, is figuring out how you want to start the video and finding your feet as you go through. It's so hard to come up with ideas and like a structure. But yeah, none of it's scripted. It's all make it up as I go along.
Yeah, so you're doing a hybrid, like, because like when any MWO videos I typically put up are just basically highlights. But what I'll do is I'll play, you know, a mech for 5 matches, and I'll take the best of those and smash and, you know, just edit them together. You're at least doing that, but then you're doing stuff on top with like meme images and sounds and sound effects and stuff. That's, again, I just don't have that creative like talent in my brain, and that's why, like, you know, Beef, I don't know if he has a script. I would assume he does, or at least he has an idea. I've never like sat down and like asked him to, you know, but I'm assuming that's more of like a scripted route, like, or at least, yeah.
I think he knows what he wants from the video. Like when he does his like 12 crabs in faction play video, like he knows, he's organized that, he knows what's going to happen. So it's kind of like the idea's there from the get-go. But yeah, with my videos myself, it's just wing it. Just make it up as I go along. See what I can make.
Because, you know, when I was talking about TTB, again, he's been around for a while, and he was pretty much doing the highlights as well. Like, and I actually found that if you, at least this is me, I don't know if you ever tried to be like, oh, I want to go in with a mech and have this performance or whatever. And then you go in and you have just shitty match after shitty match after shitty match. And it's like, I remember feeling bad, like dropping against Bear Duel, and we're over here just having a fun group and just like, oh, I hope he's not recording. He's definitely recording. And like, just, you know, so now I tend to I do volume by fire. I just like, I'll record 5 or 6, and out of that 5 or 6, 1, 2, maybe 3 will be good. And the other 2 just don't
I think
worry about it.
Yeah, I think it's hard because you can do that way. Like you have like, oh, I really like this Marauder build. I want to play the Marauder as much as I can today, get as many good games as I can, then edit into a highlight video. But like, yeah, when you put that pressure on yourself to try and make that into something, that's when the games start going really bad. And it's like, it is so stressful when you're trying to get like make good content, but you can't get the performance in. But that's just kind of, you know, it's RNG, isn't it? You know, some games will get better than others. But yeah, I feel like MechWarrior videos like that though are just kind of dying out a bit. I don't know, like personally myself, when I was just uploading matches without like all the editing on top of it, it wouldn't get half as many views as it would when I actually put in the effort and like, you know, produce something that has a bit more of a structure to it. But that's like, yeah, that's like the YouTube side of MechWarrior. It's like, what do people actually want to watch as such?
Yeah.
Is it just matches, or do they want to see something more like a beef edited video or one of mine or one of yours? It's like informative or funny. Like what are they looking for? It's hard to gauge. It's really hard.
Yeah. Now, like, even with that, I think that's the cool thing about YouTube is there's room for like all of that. It's like the tide lifts all boats sort of thing. That's, I know I've been doing this for so long. I think right now the question I have for you is like, do you find it, because if this was a new game, we'd have like everything under the sun to talk about. Like, I mean, you could do skills video. I feel like build videos now, like, tell me if I'm wrong here, but like, there's nothing new. Like, you're not like, ooh, my secret sauce. Like, like, this is what I do. This is what the top tier players do. We're going to, or whatever. Like, I don't know, very little room for creativity. Whereas that's where I look at someone like yourself. I watch your videos. I get chuckles out of them just because, and I love the way you do things. And I'm like, oh, I wish I had like just a little bit of that creativity. And I've also recognized like, okay, I don't. So just lean into what I'm good at, which is like, I feel like I'm pretty good at like, just playing the game and then also just like engaging with chat at the same time. But as far as like editing this and that, that's not my thing.
I feel like you could be limiting yourself though. Like if you
maybe
I feel like you need the inspiration sometimes. Like sometimes I'm stuck for ideas and I don't know what to do, and I have like these videos that are like the recordings that I want to do something with, but I can't figure out what it is I'm actually going to do with them. And like I feel like watching other people's content or watching just random stuff, like you could be scrolling on Instagram watching some reels and you see a funny one and you think, oh, that's a good idea, and you can apply that to your video. So I think it's good to like do research on like what other people are doing. And like even one thing that I do sometimes, which I don't know is weird, but I will go on YouTube and just search green screen video, and then it'll just be memes upon memes of different green screen stuff. And as you're downloading them, picking the ones that you think, oh, I could use this at some point, you suddenly have this massive folder full of random stuff that you could eventually apply to one of your videos. And I think having that library there of content, or like not content, but like effects and memes and stuff, it gives you ideas. Whereas if you don't have any of that, it's kind of like you're plucking things out of thin air, which is a lot more difficult. So yeah, I think maybe you just need a bit of inspo, a bit of a also to work with. Yeah,
learn how to edit something or use tools. I mean, I was asking you to use DaVinci Resolve, which for those that are listening is free software to use. So if you want to get into it, like there's that. There's also a Photoshop that's free too. GIMP, I think, is free.
You can use GIMP, yeah.
Yeah. And they've came a long way from like back in the day to now. But like I have Sony Vegas. The only reason I have Sony Vegas is because I got it off Humble Bundle for like $15 years ago, and then I got an upgraded version off Humble Bundle again. And I'm so stuck on my ways of like S is for slice, and this is where this is at, and like moving around. Yeah, right. And I'm like, I'm so set in I'm such an old man now. Like, like I don't want to break anything. But what got you into streaming, and then what got you into MechWarrior Online and streaming MechWarrior Online?
So I've been playing MechWarrior, which I actually only found out the other day, since 2016. I thought I played it a lot later. Like I didn't realize, because when did the game come out? It was like 2013,
13 officially. Yeah.
So yeah, I was playing up. It was still a good few years after the game initially came out, but I thought I started playing in like 2020 onwards. So those extra 4 years kind of shocked me when I looked at my old accounts on a Yells list, but to see what I was up to. But yeah, ever since then I've been playing it. I've been doing YouTube for over like 11 years now. I did it when I first started when I was a kid, playing like Roblox and Minecraft and all the.
Hold on, how old are you?
I'm 26.
Oh my god. Jeez.
So when I was playing MechWarrior in 2016, I would have been 16.
I'm so old. Oh my god. All right, continue. Thanks, bro.
But yeah, so I started making videos when I was basically a kid, on my computers that could barely even run the games, let alone record. And we've all been through it. Every content creator knows it.
So you started when you were 16, like playing MWO when you were like 16.
Yeah. Well, I was still a kid. Yeah, playing MechWarrior.
Cool. That's cool.
But I never really got into it until I started making videos, and then because obviously I watched like you, TTB, Bowdle, Beef, all the big guys in MechWarrior back in 2016 onwards. And and that's what got me into MechWarrior. And then I was like, hey, I make YouTube videos. Why don't I try and, you know, make some MechWarrior videos? And if you go back and look at my old ones, they're not nowhere near as edited as they are now. But it's the same concept as you guys. Like, I'll have a build, have the gameplay afterwards of the best matches that I got with it. And yeah, so like you guys got me into the YouTube side of things with MechWarrior. And now, yeah, I'm just trying to, you know, make my own kind of unique content in a way, like something that's a bit different from everyone. And yeah, since then I've been, you know, trying my best with it. I just enjoy editing. It's fun.
I think that's needed too. Like, I've always like felt that, you know, I did videos for the longest time, but I didn't include the build because it was like, I'd always include in the description, but not that front part where it was like, that's what Barradool did and that's what TTP did. But I just always felt like, I don't know, there's just, you got 5-10 minutes of me just talking to MechLab. I think now if there was a new game, I think it makes sense too, because like if you have new players that they just don't understand the weapons, the equipment, stuff like that. But I just felt like, I feel like now it's like, it's not, not that it's not needed, but maybe that's just lazy. I may be wrong. It's just, and also too is it required post editing. Like, you'd have to go into the client, record that stuff, then tack, you know, on. And I've always sort of struggled with like MWO content outside of just like matches or whatever, because, and obviously someone like yourself that could find a little bit more creativity in it can get a little bit more you know, freedom from that instead of just playing a match and it has to be good or a funny moment or whatever. I don't know. That's always sort of my struggle on that one. So
I think like if you was to do that now, like let's say MechWarrior came out now and then you was making videos on it, it would make sense, like you said, to explain stuff, because everyone's new to the game. People actually need to kind of understand what's going on. And if you're that person that they can come to it, you know, you almost come like their advisor with things. It's like you're telling them how to play the game and teaching them stuff. But yeah, the game's been out for so long now that most people know how to play the game. I wouldn't even say that I'm like that knowledgeable with MechWarrior. I feel like people always correct me and tell me, you know, this is wrong, this is right in my videos, because I don't know it, or which I'll admit to because I don't. And I also like there's the attention span thing as well. No one's got the attention span to sit there and watch you talk for 10 minutes straight about something when you could just show them it. And it's like, yeah, so they'll just skip through. So like in my videos now, I just show the build. If it's something, if the build's new or something, maybe I'll explain it, but it'll be very quick, under like 60 seconds. And then it's straight into like the action, because if you lose that initial like grasp, that, you know, they're not going to watch your video, and then the viewership will go down because YouTube won't push it as hard, because obviously they care about watch time and, you know, retention.
Yeah.
So you got to keep those things in mind.
Dude, there's so much. And maybe you've got a one up on this, but like there's so much I'm learning now of like looking at my videos currently. Like I did a BattleTech Advanced, like I was like, okay, let's do a you know, I'll stream, but I'll record episodes while I'm streaming, and then I'll edit them episodically. And first episode, just fine. Blew up, actually. It was a lot more. I was like, oh, geez. Second video, dramatically less. Third video, half. Third video, like fourth video, half of that. Like it just kept, and like, I'm like, am I just, what's going on here? And I realized, like, did a little bit of research, you know, asked, and it's like, oh, I think what's happening is I was doing episodes, which then if you have in your title, like episode 1, 2, 3, 4, like someone who goes to see that in the thumbnail, because impressions, like, so that for those that don't know, impressions are like, if you just go to YouTube and you see someone's thumbnail and it's there, that's an impression for them. You don't have to click it, but you saw that. So like, even a small channel like myself or even yours, you may have hundreds of thousands of impressions a month because someone saw your thumbnail, they just didn't click it. So then you have click-through rate, CTR, and then you've got retention is like, what's the average viewership and where did they drop off? And there's like graphs behind the scenes and all this. But I realized like, I had messed up because like, instead of making intentional content with BattleTech Advanced, like the mod, like the first one was starting basically a brand new career in BattleTech Advanced. So that's a really good tagline title. And like, this is what it is. My second one should have been like, you know, it could have been like the struggles of a beginning mercenary unit in BattleTech Advance or whatever. And then you could showcase like, oh, you got to weigh this between taking contracts that are too hard, but you know, you want to get salvage. And you have to be like more intentional. And I feel like my YouTube, I've done a lot of like unintentional, just putting videos up to put them up. Like I need a video up today. Like in the past, like I had to have a video a day, and it's like, no, actually I didn't. And if I would have just spent a little bit more time creating a handful of videos that week instead of one video a day, it would actually, YouTube would have shared that more because it would have been more intentional than just, I've got to, you know, put it out there.
That's a really good point. Like having to do a video a day, which is like, I think it's a bit of a trap because, especially with MechWarrior, because you could easily do a video a day, you know, just post a game. I know TTP still does it. He posts every single day, sometimes twice a day, which is just crazy. But you look at his like date on the videos and when he played the matches, and it was 6 months ago he played that match. It was a long time ago. So he's got this huge backlog of videos just waiting to be released. And you know, he hasn't got to worry because every single day he's going to get those maybe 1,000, 2,000 views on YouTube, which is, you know, a little bit of revenue here and there just adds up throughout the month, if he's looking at it that way. But yeah, with like my own videos, I was falling into the trap of posting as many videos as I could and just, you know, here's a build, here's some gameplay, here's a build, here's some gameplay, and just regurgitating it over and over. And I wasn't feeling like proud of the videos, and it was kind of like burning me out because like I was just making content for the sake of making content. And I think when you go down that route, it really ruins things as a creator and also as a viewer, because, you know, the videos aren't going to be as good as they were if you know, don't upload that day. You know, spend some time working on the video, spend a bit more time making it into a better video, and then, you know, it's worth it in the end. When you post it, you feel proud of it. And I don't know if you do this, but I go back and I watch my videos and I feel like, yeah, I know I spent 10 hours, 20 hours, 30 hours working on that video, and I feel proud of it. Even if it's only got 200 views, I wouldn't care because like I'm happy with that video. I'm proud of it. And that's what I've been doing recently, is like going ahead. At least, you know, you can't do it with every video. Not every video is going to be the best video, but with most of them, you know, at least I tried my best to make something out of it. And that's my kind of thing going ahead as well. But to touch on another point you said, you know, like with the episodes you doing the, was it the BattleTech series you was doing? So with that, I did a similar thing. I started a Cyberpunk series on my like other gaming channel, just like, which is just everything, you know, Cyberpunk, Rematch, you know, just any game I'm playing at the moment. And I was going to start a hardcore playthrough where if I died, that's it, you know, one life thing, which is quite a popular trend. You know, like you see those videos, I survived 100 days in hardcore Minecraft. Stuff
Zomboid.
like that. That was, Zomboid. Yeah, that's a good game for it. And yeah, I was trying that. The first video, like your one, did great. Got a bunch of views because I think the start of something is always exciting. Like people want to be there, you know, that I was there. But then the next one I posted, which I put more effort in, edited it, was a longer video. It did like half the views, less than that maybe. And I was like, shit, what have I done wrong? And I looked at like the duration of it, and the first video was maybe like 20 minutes long. The second one was triple that. It was like an hour and 20 minutes. It was really long. And I was like, shit, maybe I need to just edit down these videos to be more shorter, because with like playthroughs, like you said, episodes where, you know, you had the first one, the second one, the third one, it just goes on and on and on. I think that kind of format is dead on YouTube now because of people's attention span and because of YouTube Shorts and all that stuff. So that's why you see those videos where it's like, I survived 100 days doing this, that, and the other, or, you know, it's like a story format. So instead of watching someone do that, they're telling you the story of how they did that, which I think is so much more engaging, because it's going from, you know, a video that you're just going to skip through, try and find something interesting in the video, whereas now it's a whole video where you're not, there's no boring parts. You're just seeing what happened. It's only the highlights, but it's told in a story format. Which you could probably do with like BattleTech or like Project Zomboid, Minecraft, maybe even MechWarrior, who knows. But I feel like that's the new meta with episodes. Instead of a just raw gameplay, it's like, here's what happened kind of thing. Like you're telling the story of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's sort of what I came to the conclusion of with that BattleTech is like, I got lucky, if you will, with the first one, because it's a start.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, okay, cool, you did these, but it's like long drawn out instead of and I can see how that could potentially work in MWO, I guess maybe the challenge would be to talk about it here and see if I could do it and you could do it, which would be like, you do a match, you'd almost have to post walk through from your perspective. This is I wish like you could do this. I could do this because you have buddies that are playing with you. You could have them set up OBS, set them up and set them up local recordings, record their perspectives, and then get you their footage. But you narrate the entire thing, not your guys' communications back and forth necessarily, but like, you know, and this is where, you know, I don't know, Bill turned around, you know, came around the corner and knew he fucked up, you know, and be like, you know, like, oh, Nettie, you know, like you could do, and it almost in his perspective. And you actually did that.
I've done that a few times, yeah.
With me.
Yes. Oh my God, yes, I did.
Yeah.
I did, yeah.
That was actually, that's a really, like, that's a good point. Like, where, for those that don't know, that this video on your channel is Forest Colony. It's funny, I still remember that because I watched it not too long ago. It was Forest Colony, and excuse me, I was streaming it, and so you grabbed that VOD and then used it for your thing, and so it was like, your perspective, suspense. My perspective, suspense. Teammates are going down, suspense. Like, oh God, are we going to get, and the time is going down. Then it literally had me and you coming around the corner. You're losing your Taurus and you're like, oh no. And then like, I'm like, oh, I've almost got him. I just need a few more. And then like, you know, it's like, that's a really good format for a video. So
it grabs you. Yeah.
Yeah. And even then a step forward would be, that's just sort of suspenseful back and forth. Now imagine you throw on some narration of like, and I think I tried doing this, and I think I'm pretty decent of it, but you have to like describing what's going on when you're playing, especially earlier on in MWO when people were trying to like, it's almost like teaching is like, hey, I'm going to go over here to this corner because it's got a better you know, line of sight on this part of the map, and hey, I'm going to poke out with this on the right side because I'm a right side build, and you know, all those little details. Nowadays, you know, it's like the juice worth the squeeze. The game's been out for so long, there's really nothing unique as far as like everything. But that all being said, maybe a story, a line of you know, you narrate and tell a story, but I don't know. And yeah,
it is. So. It's a really good, like. It's. I feel like it's very engaging watching a video like that. Like you said, the one I did with you was really fun because that was a very, very close game as well. It was 11-11 right at the end. It was me and you, and you clutched it. It was a great game, and I was so happy that I was recording that, and then you was also streaming because I knew I could just grab your perspective, and you know, I kind of knew what I'd be doing with it. But I've done that with like MPG as well. I've done it like where it's my perspective, Mitsu's perspective, and Magic Pain Glove's perspective, and that was also another like really close game. That was a more recent video, and you always get comments of people saying, I really like seeing the other perspectives. Like, I like having that.
Oh, that's what happened. Or, oh, like, yeah.
It's just, it's like, it gives you a whole different field of view of the battle that's going on. And yeah, it really is. It's a fun, like when it happened, I don't think you can kind of force it because you could do what you said where you get all your friends to record at the same time, which I feel like when we play, like probably me and you, like of people that we're playing with are either streaming or recording as well. So you have that option, which is always nice. But yeah, it was
organic though. That's the difference. You're saying like you just got to let it. That's one thing that I wish MWO had was replays. Like a file, like a saved like the data, and so you could go and watch. Like I wish this would have been the case again if they ever do like a successor and like, because like worlds and like tournaments could have been fucking epic, because as a broadcaster you could have played like, oh my god, it just happened, you know, blah blah. You could go back in and any camera angle you could see what just happened.
I haven't watched much. Cool. Yeah, it's a really good point actually. Like with competitive MechWarrior, which like I feel like I haven't really watched that much myself, but I feel like that's because whenever I watch it, it's hard to gauge what's going on because it's just a top down. It's almost like a tabletop view of what's happening, which I kind of wish it was a bit more like other games, like, I don't know, CS or something, you know, big competitive games where you see the player's perspective and it cuts from camera to camera, you know. Obviously, MechWarrior is, you need money to do that. You need like all that. There's so much more to it, but in a perfect world, it would be really cool to have that.
Yeah, because you could maybe you have it set up, because that's why I was saying if it saved a file and you could retroactively go in and watch how the map, like even as a broadcast, I think, you know, you could even have it delayed. You could watch it and hop into that person's cockpit, see what they're seeing, then boom, top down view sort of go around. I mean, they did the best they could. But in Worlds, there's been a few clutch moments where you're just like, holy shit. But yeah, so
it would be awesome. Like a theater mode, like you had in the old Call of Duties where like you'd watch like a, I don't know, Black Ops 2 montage or something, a sniper one, and you'd have all these cool cinematics where they can watch, and they can just grab that from after the game. And yeah, if you had that in MechWarrior, it would be so awesome. Like even for just like videos that we make, like just matches and stuff, just to have that different perspective where you can take yourself out of the mech and watch it from third person in a way. Yeah, that would be so awesome. That would be that would open a fucking can of worms for what you could what you can make of content wise. Yeah.
Let me ask you, because you've been around, I mean, obviously since you were 16, what, as a younger person coming into the IP, what do you think are some of the biggest hurdles to MechWarrior? Because when you say BattleTech, I mean, are you talking about tabletop? That's a different stuff. HBS is basically tabletop translation. MechWarrior specifically, and it can include Mech. I don't know if you play Mercs or clans, or whatever, but what do you feel like for at least MWO has been the biggest hurdles?
I'm not sure what was like a big hurdle in the game. I think it's just it's just very like, if you never played a BattleTech game, which is my case, another like anything BattleTech, anything like MechWarrior Mercenaries or clans or anything like that, it's hard to kind of understand everything that's going on. So I think, just having the information and like, I mean, there's plenty of videos on YouTube now explaining everything, but back then it probably was a bit harder because it was still a newer game and there was still like people figuring it out. But I don't think there was any massive hurdles with the game. I think it was always quite accessible in a way.
Well, let me rephrase. Like, were you the only one of your buddies that played it? Like,
yes, I had never had anyone to play with on this game, and that sucked.
Yeah. Did you ever try to get someone into it?
A little bit, because I used to play like PlanetSide a lot with my friends and stuff like that. I feel like PlanetSide's a game that a lot of people that play MechWarrior have probably played as well. I know Magic Playing Glove loves PlanetSide.
Number 2?
Number 2, yes, of course,
okay. Yeah.
And like, we was playing that game together, and that was the same time when I started playing MechWarrior. But yeah, they just never really got into it. I probably could have pushed them a bit more because I think I could think of a few friends that would enjoy it. But it's too late now. But like back when I was a kid, yeah, maybe. But yeah, never not having people to play with was always a big issue. It was only when I started streaming, I started making friends like Mitsu and stuff that now I play the game with as much as I can because it's such a great time with them.
It's fun. Yeah. We talked about that last week, I think. We've been trying to get this podcast for probably about 2.5 weeks.
Roughly, yeah.
But one of the things I had mentioned was, someone was asking about do stomps, is how a stomp, and I'm like, dude, stomps have always happened in games. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, like it's not ideal situation because of matchmaking or whatever, blah blah blah, but like this weird fascination some people have where like games have to always come down to the last moment. It's like, generally speaking, that means there was a lot of mistakes that were made because the whole point of the game is capitalizing on mistakes the enemy makes. And so if you do your job right, it can be a 12-0, 12-2 stomp really quick. But also, I've had 12-2 stomps that took forever. And then it's just like, it's a game of attrition. Just one mech, just boom, down, then boom. And then the odds just go against them. And also, too, is like, not every match, it's a 15-minute window. Not every match is going to be epic. Like, I don't know where, like, people came up with that as like it's never been like that. So, and that goes back to the AV8 or Clan Invasion. Like, it's never been like every match is epic. And it comes down to like this. But yeah, I don't know. Like, as a streamer, like, I just feel like, and this maybe rolls into like other parts of like, how do you find streaming? Like, do you enjoy it? And if so, like, why?
I love streaming because I love the community thing. I like playing the games with people and like having someone to actually talk to about the game and stuff like that, which I guess you could have if you just played with your friends, but it's a bit different when you're like trying to, as you said, keep people entertained and put on a show. I feel like MechWarrior wise, because obviously that's the game that we all stream the most, or in general the most. It is a good game to stream because it does have those moments where it's a super close game, you know, now biting, you have these really, or like a really good game where you do a load of damage, get a bunch of kills, you know, all that. But then you do have those games where it's not as good. And also like the wait times. Sometimes you're sitting there waiting for that little cog to spin and find a match, and it's like twiddling your thumbs. Like, what do I do to keep these guys that are watching me right now not get bored? It's so hard. Like, do I play something else? Do I start scrolling on YouTube or something? Give them something to watch as well. It's kind of hard to fill that. It's like filler content. Like, how do I fill that gap between each match?
You know what I do is when I say entertain, it's more of like, I've just made this a part of my daily schedule. Like, I don't have to put on the show, and I sort of figure you're the same way. That's how you come off, is like, this is just you. Like,
yeah,
if I met you at the pub, this is how you would act. That's how I act. Like, I've never, like, and I think authenticity is so damn important. Like, especially in today's, I guess, online, where it's like gotcha culture and all this, you know, that's just not who I am. And I've said that too, because people have met me at like MechCon and stuff, and it's like, this is just who I am. So I try to do a service to continue that, but also
it's true.
Yeah, but also like, as far as like engagement with chat, I think a really important thing is building that community. I feel like that's sometimes not stressed enough. Like when people, and it's funny because like I realize like yourself and me would be considered, I think, small and like medium size content creators in the grand scheme of things. I think that's what it's considered. But like,
yeah,
that still means you have a pretty big impact on like people. Like, I don't know, someone's like, hey man, I'm going in for surgery today. The next day you see him, like, hey man, how's things going? How's recovery? Or how's your mom? How's your dog? So I don't know. For me, it's like fostering a community is like just building relationships with your community members. Obviously setting guidelines and like rail guards, like, you know, I don't talk about politics. I don't talk about real world stuff. I don't do any of that. I'm not your, well, not even that. It's just like, you come here to get away from that shit. Like, yeah, we'll talk about
when people like try and bring all these like big world problems in and stuff like that. And it's like, I just don't want to be thinking about that right now. Like, I'm playing my game. I want to chill. I want to have a good time. It's escapism, isn't it? That like you're trying to get away from that stuff, not sit there and foster on it while you're playing the games and stuff. It's like, some people, obviously there are channels out there that do the politics and stuff, but I think that's where it should stay. You know, you don't bring it over into other things that don't need to have anything to do with that.
I've had people be like, you have a platform. I'm like, no, fuck you. That's not how I'm operating my channel.
No,
that's not, you can do that, but no, don't even try to pull that over my head. Cause like for me, it's really important to everyone should feel comfortable. I don't care where you're from, who you are. I don't really care. We can all make fun of Capellan orphans and blowing them up in buildings and like BattleTech, and you know, Capellans are like the scapegoat for all things BattleTech. But there's little things that I've done to just more make it intentional, professional to some extent.
I kind of like to like add to that as well. I kind of like the legacy side of things. Like, I like having stuff not on the internet, because anyone can put anything on the internet, but like I like having stuff that I'm proud of on the internet. So like, if I go back and watch a video when like 10 years ago when I was a kid, I can be like, oh my god, I was a kid when I made this. Like, and it's like a memory now. It's like, but it's there, and I can, when I eventually have kids, I can show my kids that and be like, this was me when I was your age, doing whatever the hell I was doing on Roblox or whatever. Like, all the way back when I was much younger. But I think like even with streaming and stuff, you still have that kind of brand that you've built up that whole time, and it shows. And like for yourself, obviously, you've been doing, I'm guessing this is like your full-time job. This is what makes you money, keeps you living. It's like you've built that from the ground up, and it's really, I admire people like yourself that have done that, because it's so hard to stick at it.
Yeah, no, as far as like content creation, it's something, you know, I was asking TTB, you know, it's always funny too, is every single time I do a podcast, there's always, I'm like, oh, I should have asked this or whatever. And that's just in the nature of like the brain of doing. But yeah, man, I've done a lot of intentional thinking. You know, I went independent from me and Darren used to run NGNG, and then that was we were doing contract work for PGI, and that ended very abruptly. I say abruptly, we sort of saw the writing on the wall, so we had made some precautionary measures about 6 months prior, but like, dude, when that happened, it was January 7th of 2020, so right before the Rona just ripped through the world and all the craziness happened. Our contract, like, it was like my income just whoop, and so it was like, and then my wife lost her contract job too, and it was just like one of those things where it's like, oh, what a wait, and I was like, I don't know if NGNG can sustain Darren and I, and it was like one of those things where I made the decision, and maybe a lot of people don't know this. Like, I had my own like personal channel, and I was like, hey, I didn't want any conflict between me and him as far as like who owned NGNG. So I was like, here you go. And anyways, long story short, fast forward a few months, he really wasn't doing anything with it. So I was like, I'd really like the opportunity to take what we built and run with it.
Should. Yeah.
And the rest is history. But I remember that first year, it was like, I don't.
Scary.
Can I make this? Yeah, I was like, can I make this work? And after the first year, it was like, yeah, I think I can. And so my mind shifted, and So it's been a process. There's things now like, and I mean, we joke around, like, I've had I used to stream at night while my daughter was younger, and so there was a few nights we had some drunken streams, and like there's a few nights I don't really remember, and it's like, you got to be really careful from a professional standpoint. If you have any relationships or sponsors, did you say do something wrong? So like now, as I look at it differently, and I know back in the day I definitely put Darren in some precarious positions because like there was a few drunken streams I did, and
because that's like, it's like the point you said before, like that's why you want to keep like politics and all that stuff out of it, because if you say one thing, and you have sponsors or like anything, like if this was if I was doing this, oh my god, it would be terrifying, because you say one wrong thing or one accidental opinion you have on something, and it's like you're the worst person in the world. All your sponsors go, because you're a hazard to them.
Yeah, I didn't think
it's a city world we live in, really, where you can't, people can't take stuff with a grain of salt. I don't know if that's the right way of putting it, but like, everyone's so sensitive to that stuff, and it's like,
yeah. Well, also too, I didn't think about like those are safeguards to myself and like Brian. I didn't like actually think about it until you brought that up, but it's sort of like built-in safeguards too, because I can't talk about it because I'm not, that's one of the rules. You can't talk about it. So we never have to like, cross that bridge and worry about it. But yeah. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the game right now?
I was just gonna say, I made a lot of points that I wanted to talk about today, just in case like you wanted me to kind of lead with some things.
Oh, so you got some document? Yeah. Okay.
I made a little text document.
All right.
Of stuff like MechWarrior related, because obviously that's the main thing that we do, or that I do personally. I wouldn't be able to talk to you about BattleTech and stuff because I don't know it as much. But that is actually the first point I want to say, and I'm getting comments on my latest video about this as well, so it's very relevant. I uploaded a video of the new catapult with the arrow on it, and I'm already getting people saying, PGI, this isn't accurate to tabletop. This isn't accurate. Why does the catapult, when you open the door, have all the missile slots and not the arrow there? And it's not accurate to tabletop. And I'm like, how come? I don't understand how people don't differentiate, like make the difference between MechWarrior as a first-person shooter basically, and tabletop's a complete. It's the same branding, the same universe, but I don't know why everything has to be so like loyal to tabletop. Like, why can't they change things? Why can't they be a bit more flexible with that stuff without insulting people that like the game?
Yeah,
or like the tabletop.
I think my response would be, every IP that has a fan base as passionate I think Warhammer, I mean,
Mm,
whatever. It could be a book series. Some people just can't let go. Like that's the way it is.
yeah,
This is the
has to
way
be that
Harry's
way.
supposed to look or whatever. Um, I think sometimes it's difficult, and it's like bashing your head up against the wall sometimes when it comes to BattleTech nerds. And I say that being a nerd. So if someone's listening or getting offended, get over yourself
Sorry.
because like it's not that serious. But also the fact of like, um, the difficult thing is people, and I used to be one of these, so I have to clarify that is like the distinction between what tabletop is. Tabletop is a box set that is a inspired by the lore. The lore is like all the stories and TROs, the all the information behind the scenes. What is the inner sphere? Who are these characters? What is this technology? What are blah blah blah? What is battle mechs? All this. um, but like the difference being is like the Timberwolf, like it's not AC-20 in the novels, it's heavy autocannon, right? And
Mm,
it's an assault autocannon, right? There's different calibers, right? And the reason I say that is because like the tabletop is inspired by those, but to create anything it's a set of rules. It's like games. It's
mm,
like soccer. You have 11 people on the field. You got a goalie. These positions. Blah blah blah. Or baseball for our Americans out there. Like you have these positions. It's a set of rules. You have 3 strikes you're out. How many balls to your walk. Blah blah. It's the same thing for a tabletop game. Take BattleTech out of the name and roll to Warhammer. You have a set of rules you have to follow. Right. The lore is hugely extensive, and
mm.
you could go down the 10,000 some odd books there is of Warhammer. We don't have that many in BattleTech, but we have a lot. And I think some people are so dogmatic about it where they can't let go. They look at tabletop as the end all be all. And it's like, no, 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 no.
Mm,
MechWarrior and BattleTech are the same thing.
yeah,
It's the same thing. The reason it was called MechWarrior is because it sounded cooler. They tried BattleTech, but it just it didn't
no,
hit as cool as MechWarrior.
yeah,
And so people just can't let go of those little details where it's like, bro, like, and also this is my argument against like people that come over from tabletop 2 is like, oh well, you should have like spread or RNG mechanics or like um you don't need hard points. It's like, okay, bro. Tabletop has hit locations, right?
mm,
So you can't all fire all, 9 medium lasers and hit directly on the CT, right? You can in MechWarrior. So something has to change. You have to adapt. That's why, like mech shape, size matters,
yeah,
the speed, all those things. But like, I think to answer your question, if someone can't have a logical conversation and we realize there's a difference, I just call them turbo nerds. It's okay. You're gonna be all right.
Terminators. Yeah,
You're gonna be fine. Um, Again, if that offended you, good. Get over yourself. You're gonna be all right. But the difference between a tabletop game, like physical tabletop, and you need rules. That's like Magic the Gathering has a set of rules to play the cards. It doesn't work like fucking Uno. That's all tabletop is. It's not
mm,
the foundation for the BattleTech universe. The BattleTech universe, the lore is that's the foundation, and the tabletop. That's why like the ranges don't make sense in tabletop, right? That
yeah,
because per the TROs and per Catalyst Game Labs and Randall Bills and everybody, you would need like realistic again. It's like, well, why can't it's because you need a tabletop multiple lengths and it's not
yeah,
realistic for
huge
a
one.
board game, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's where like um inspiration and imagination has to come into the picture. So
yeah, because I
yeah.
think people are too hung up on like it has to be this way. They can't allow the game to adapt it in their own way. Instead of being
Yeah.
this is BattleTech, maybe this is inspired by BattleTech. Like
Yeah.
it has that IP, but it's not. This isn't lore. This isn't. There's not. I don't think there is a story behind MechWarrior Online. I'm not sure. Like it's not like clans or something
No.
where you have like
No.
I'm guessing clans is like lore accurate. Like it has that story like a Star Wars game might. But like yeah, I just think sometimes maybe that holds back the game. Like the way they kind of keep it too condemned in
1,000%.
in that bubble.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like, it's another point actually leading on to, like, I think if they kind of drop that, it has to be BattleTech, has to be, you know, lore accurate and, you know, respectful to all the other things out there, all the other games, then maybe the game would be a bit more balanced. Maybe they'd have more options to play with. Obviously it isn't like that strict. I'm making it sound like it's a lot more strict than it is. But yeah, it's like, I feel like the people that kind of argue against it not being directly what BattleTech lore says it should be, are the ones that are holding it back.
Well, it's sort of like, for an example, like ferrofibrous armor. Like, yeah, in lore, it's just a fucking better upgrade. It's like, it's like me having a chest rig and I go from like level 1 to level 3. Yeah, well, fucking level 3. Oh, well, we can't afford level 3. Okay. And that's where the lore comes in, is like, well, why doesn't every mech have these upgrades? Why doesn't every mech have an XL engine? Because it just costs the logistical cost. That's what's really BattleTech to me is like Game of Thrones, sci-fi, you know, current like it's this. They did a really cool job with how they did it, because it's like it's grounded in science, if you will. Like people are like, science. Yeah, technically, yes, science. Like synthetic muscle is scientifically possible, and funny enough, we're like, you're seeing little. My point being is, it's not like space magic. It's not like the warp in like 40K or something like that. All right. So yeah, I think some people just can't let go. It's been a struggle. I mean, even with HBS BattleTech, Mitch Gittleman, because like people were like, even BattleTech by HBS, the like AC-20 wasn't 20 damage. It was like, why does it do 70? It's like, you know, like, guys, you know, and yeah, that 100%. I think it, what is the word? If you're a developer, it stymies innovation, and you don't need iteration and innovation just for innovation, or, you know, whatever. But like, you know, why do you, there's been some stuff like MWO, I feel like took a step forward and backwards at the same time. Like, the hardpoint system was definitely needed, right? Because and Mech 4 was a prime example versus 3 and 2, because 3 and 2 were just literally a copy and pasta from Tabletop. So you could throw everything in left, right torso. You didn't need to worry, you know, like there was no variance. Yeah, it didn't matter what. Whereas 4, you could see where they were going, and 4 did a lot of good things, in my opinion. But back then I was like, oh, this isn't MechWarrior. Because like, yeah, but like now, fast forward, I'm like, oh, you stupid kid, you just don't really understand what you're talking about. And also, but the reason I say that is like MWO introduced hardpoints, but then they reintroduced the like critical slot system. Like, you have to have this many slots in the left, right torso, left, right arm, and then you get in this weird puzzle match game. And then when every little detail can dramatically affect a mech and its performance, like, bro, and then you tie it into that mech and performance will justify whether someone buys it or not. That's a recipe for disaster when you start introducing a lot and you get to this point where, yeah, that could be problematic. So, that's been a problem in BattleTech, as far as nerds not wanting to
allow
open their eyes. Yeah,
open their eyes, be open to stuff. Also, another point would be like, I feel like MechWarrior, when they removed not half the maps, but like Forest Colony or Forest Colony Classic, you know, the one where it had the river on one side and then it had the tunnel on the right side if you spawn at the back. I don't know why you probably have more insight into this than I do. I don't understand why they removed the map rather than we reworked the map, or even just changed the spawns on some of them. I think like taking away content from a game that, you know, only has so much anyways in terms of maps was a bad idea, because now it's just, you know, the same 5 maps over and over and over, and it kind of gets very stale. Whereas, you know, even if they weren't the best map in the world, you know, it wasn't, or like they're a little bit unbalanced, stuff like that, it was at least something different to be playing on. And people are telling me that, okay, tell me if this is true. People are saying that PGI does not have copies of the old maps, like old HPG, old Polar Highlands. They're saying, I've been told that they've been deleted, and I don't believe that. I think that
is
lies.
Objectively incorrect. They do have them. The main issue is they don't have a map guy right now. So it would like I think people need, if you're listening, they need to understand there is actually one remain. I want to, and I gotta be like, there's one remaining dev, not even dedicated because he does, and that's Teos. Teos used to be a community member. Now he's a 3D modeler, but he's got his hands in a bunch of other stuff too, and he's done a great job. We disagree on some stuff, but we don't have a map guy. So let me answer your first question. One of the sticking points I always had with when me and Darren used to work for them was Russ had a different mindset, and I can't speak for him, but I can speak for what the conversation was. He's in the business to, instead of fixing something, I can do something new, and ergo it's something new. I can pitch that, like I can not sell it in the form of like, here's like, give me money for it, but like it's better for the PR and marketing aspect of like,
new sales.
I and Darren fundamentally disagreed on that with him. Even a step further back from that discussion was the first few maps were drastically different. And I don't, even though I worked for them back, in 2020 and prior, I do not have any information in regards to this. So this is complete speculation. I believe the very first maps and mechs, Atlas, Catapult, Hunchback, and Jenner, very good animations on the mechs, were done by someone, and the maps were done by someone. And then the cycle of development started. They hired a new map guy. And someone picked up the animation work, and we got that very robotic-y, not attractive at all animations. Same thing with the maps. I don't know if you remember, Canyon Network used to have a central pillar and it rotated.
Yes. Yeah.
Not only that is HPG, central pillar and rotation.
King of the Hill. Yeah.
It was like someone came out of map design school, and it was like copy pasta from what they did. I don't know who did them. I think if they're listening to this podcast, you should be ashamed of yourself. You created so many issues. The reason I say this is, you mentioned newer maps and older maps being rotated in and out and taken out and blah, blah, blah. There were maps, in my opinion, that had clear balance issues. We still have one in rotation right now, and that's Alpine Peaks.
Alpine.
Alpine Peaks is a problem. That's why you've seen like the Dom point change, because and I do have to clarify, your first primary objective in all of the game modes is to kill the enemy team. The game mode is there to force movement or force action to either cause you destroying, or if they don't want to play, then in that game you can force it as. I just have to, I had someone recently, and it's like, no, that is not the primary objective, is to run around on conquest. That is a mechanism to force the fight or force movement from the team. I'm getting sun here, don't mind me. But so there was clear, like, Canyon Network now is so much better. Now, why are they better, and why did we, like, I think Rubelite, fantastic. John, I forget his name. John was the one who did that. We had a few map guys that came in and did some. They actually brought map knowledge and awareness. They played the game. They weren't necessarily super good, but they played. The latest one was Free Worlds Coliseum. That was done by Kraz. I spoke outwardly about this, and maybe I could have done a little bit more tactful because it wasn't a personal attack per se, but Free Worlds League, in my opinion, when it first came out, was designed for, exactly his words was, he wanted to create something for long range combat. Well, it achieved that.
Yeah,
it achieved it really good. It achieved it so much it destroyed anything else. And one of my things, and again, being on this side of the fence instead of being on the developer side of the thing, is like, it's like, hey, cool, I get you want to create something, but you can't ostracize 90% of your fan base, from like you can't have one dominant play style on that map. And just so happens that one dominant play style can be abused by really good players. Yeah. It's like Railgun. Is Railgun broken? Not in everyday Joe Schmo hands,
No.
but in really good players' hands, yeah, it can be. But that's any mech. But I mean, sometimes. But my point being is, so Free Worlds League was a good example of like, I think he took the criticism and feedback and then dropped the mushrooms on there, and it did that. It just sort of sucks because that wasn't part of the original,
No,
design.
it wasn't in the original thought process for the map. Because I feel like a map that would be a good contender against that would be Polar Highlands, because remember that was rotate around the middle spire. God, that was awful. There was no cover.
Did you pick up on that? Like all of the old maps had this. Some of them were more elevated, but it was this center pillar and just like no cover concealment in between. Caustic Valley, like literally was like you're screwed if you've got this 500 meters. And yeah, man, it morphed the play style of the game. Like it had a huge impact. I would say, of course, like builds and meta and like weapon adjustments.
Yeah,
but maps, man.
Variables.
Yeah,
maps have played a big part.
Huge.
But then they changed Polar Highlands. I think the Polar Highlands right now is really good. I think you've still got your sniper points. Like you've got that big hill on the left side of the map. Or right side, depending on what side you spawn, obviously, but you know what hill I mean. And then you've got the tunnels, like you've got your trenches almost that you can go through to avoid that. There's like, you have directions you can go in. It's not just you're stuck like Free World's Coliseum was, where you're just stuck in the open with snipers everywhere staring at you, and you can't do anything if you're in a 270 meter AC-20 build on an Atlas or something. It's like, you have options, but I feel like maps in this game have very much let it down in many cases.
It's tough. I didn't like when they introduced map voting because, and the reason
I second on that. Yeah,
because in one way, obviously you can stack votes, people control, and then they can ideally, I guess what I would say is, in an ideal situation, every map would have the ability to play short range, but it's not dominant, medium, it's not dominant, and long range, but it's not dominant. And I always use Rubelite as an example. It's a great map where you can do all of them because of there's verticality, but there's also where you can move, but if you're in position, you could see where they go, but it's like, excuse me. It's like, I look at that map as being, and aesthetically, I know it doesn't look very nice. It is hot, but like it's one of those where like I use that map as an example. It's where like I have issues with like Mining Collective, where and I look at like, of course they're not going to touch it now, especially because they don't have a map guy. But I think if we'd have had more an actual map designer that had knowledge about the game, I don't think you have to be an expert, but like. Because also too is like it'd been, I think what would have helped really in MWO's early timeline, and it's sort of hard to say this because you don't have really, really good players yet early on. Like it takes a while before you have that. You don't cater the game towards them, and I want to preface this so people are like, you don't make the game for your top tier players. That's true. But what you do is you use them to say, how are you breaking my game? And do I want that or no? Because you're always going to have this gap at the tippity top. I mean, depending on how easy or hard your game is. And in MWO, there's a big gap between a top. So what I'd have done early on is just have a group sort of like the Cauldron right now, where you could bounce questions off of and make adjustments. And even if that was behind the scenes, at least they have that to where they can make adjustments based on not the feedback, and you're not catering towards one community, a person, but just that hey, how are you breaking this game, and do I want that or no? Yes, no.
I feel like with the maps as well, even like not even changing the maps, maybe just changing the spawns would fix them.
They can do that, by the way. Right now, they can do that.
Because I don't understand why. I didn't know if they could do that, but now you're telling me they are. Like, I don't understand why. Like Mining Collective, like you said, I think Mining Collective is a good map. I think arguably it has 3 lanes. You've got left, right, middle, or left, middle, right. But it's the problem when you drop. Let's say you're in an Annihilator and you drop with your 3 buddies who are in Fleas. Suddenly, it's you versus the other lance that spawned on the other side of the map that's charging towards you. You're not fast enough to get back to your team who's already rotated right down the other side of the map, and now you're stuck. I don't understand why they don't just spawn you all together and let you go.
But they sort of did back in the day. So the problem with Soup Queue, when they, for people listening, Soup is solo and group queue got merged. Now it's been 4 years now, I think. They used to have it so certain spawns, like your assaults wouldn't spawn on those outward, they would spawn in the center.
Yeah.
And that would make sense. They just have never adjusted it. I do know they can adjust spawns. My thing has been always that your game is about casual players.
Oh yeah.
That's reality. Like, yes, you have comp. I would even say if you're going to have comp on the comp rotation, have maps and spawn locations that are specific for comp, because it's also 8v8. Do have separate alterations. I think Tios can do that. I'm 99% sure they can adjust spawns because it's a XML file. Locations, grid locations. And actually, I will say, yes, they have, because they have made alterations to like Alpine Conquest. They made, because all it is X, Y, and Z where they play stuff.
The coordinates.
So yeah, I think it would be my issue with like mining. I mentioned it was more of like playing as a casual player. On that map, there's locations that can be abused. Sometimes it's usually groups, not always.
It's the dark walls.
Yeah,
the back of the map on the mountain.
Yeah, and also like some of the stuff, the meta, if you will, or meta in the sense of on certain maps and stuff, tactics and strategies, it's ebbed and flowed throughout the years. The designer for that map never intended like the usage for like a dire well sitting above the lighting zone, and it can just sit up there with ECM and just
1,200 out.
But that all being said, that's the randomness of the queue, and
I think if they just changed the spawns, like it would change the game in a way. Like Alpine, I don't know how they think it's acceptable to spawn one team at the top of the map and one team at the bottom.
Dude, I just had a match. It was Assault, which
why?
And I generally asked. I feel like the team that spawns on the like where I-9 Hill is and Fox 8, which is Tower Hill, have the huge advantage because they can get to Fox 8 and they can get to I-9 and control the high ground there. And I know some people would argue and be like, well, you just got to get there first. Well, you're not guaranteed to have lights or even long range.
No, it's like if you get a bunch of brawlers on your team that are moving less than 64 kph, you're not going to beat them. Like they're going to get there before you.
And that's why, people always say, they'll ask me like, oh, what do you, and I'm like, if you take an Assault, it's a good bet to take medium to long range. That way you can have an ability to engage, because you may be on a map that if you don't, you're just going to get hosed. You're not guaranteed to get a mining collective or,
That brings me on to another point as well. Like you're saying, like you said, if you're going to bring an Assault mech, make sure to bring range, because you can't guarantee if you're going to be able to walk close, like get it within broading range every single map. And it's like, even if they don't change the maps, maybe there's something they can do like Cauldron wise, where they can balance out ranged weapons versus long range weapons versus short range weapons. And the idea I was playing with in my head, and I could be an idiot for saying this, so I'm just shooting ideas.
let's hear.
Why don't more weapons have variable ranges? That ATMs, you have that perfect range where you're doing the perfect amount of damage, and then you have these other ranges where you're doing minimal range damage and a damage drop off as it goes further out the optimal. Why don't lasers have that, like ER large lasers? Why don't it, when you get within, let's say, 300 meters of an ER large laser, it does less damage? Because it's meant to be a ranged. It's meant to be a ranged weapon. Why doesn't I feel like that's like something they've never tried, but it might, because then it gives you an option, like, oh, I'm getting poked by this annoying sniper at the back of the map. Push him, but you're still gonna. If you don't change that, oh, he's still doing the same damage to me. So what difference does it make? But if then you add it so they have a minimum range, or they do less range under optimal, or less damage under optimal, sorry, you might have a chance. It gives you that kind of hope that you can actually do something about it. And I think, yeah, like laser weapons, maybe a few AC weapons, stuff like that. The stuff that's more ranged, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, it could benefit from having a counter to it, which would be getting close, you know, close that gap.
I don't have a direct answer for you. I think there's, I mean, if someone's listening, Navid or any of the Cauldron
More of a question
members,
for the Cauldron, really.
yeah. I guess the one thing I always do is I usually ask Navid, okay, if I did this, how would you break it? And he's pretty smart. I mean, he's an engineer. How would you abuse this? And that's usually what I think a lot of people don't realize is like, they're just good players. I have heard so many times, oh, add a cone of fire to this. And I'm like, you complain about a Gauss charge, which is a mechanic. You don't have to like it, but it's a timing mechanic. And that's a skill. If you struggle with that, you need to realize that you're not nerfing a good player. You're just creating a little bit wider of a gap that they're going to be able to exploit better than you. It's this weird notion of like, oh, if we do this, it'll bring them down a notch or two. It's like, no. That's, if anything,
I don't think you can. Like, they're always going to be good. Yeah.
Yeah, you're widening the gap because you're putting more, and that's where it's like I don't know what it's called, but like design school, like sitting down, it's like designing a mech lab or UI. It's like you could do it on paper. Like you should be able to like cut out paper stuff and move it around and do stuff. You should be able to theory craft. Hey, if I do X, what's going to happen here? Like, for instance, you were sort of almost, I thought you were going to go with be able to choose the mech before the map. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
But you can abuse that.
So that's your first response. So what? And here's counter argument to that, Mr. Improvise, is that then I no longer am screwed by taking a short range slow brawler and 6 out of the 10 times I get hosed and I'm hoping for that 4 out of 10. At least then we're both in agreement. I both know if I go in there and I know it's a long range sniper fest, well, I'm the dope. Like that's on me. Like I got to choose that. That's where I think ideally you have a map designer, and fast forward to if they come out with a successor to MWO, is that from a designer standpoint, you need to make it so that all maps are accessible to whatever play styles that you have in the game.
It's very difficult to do, but it's not impossible, I would say.
No. But I mean, it's, I think with that, it requires a dedicated, not just one like staff member. It requires a designer working usually with a map guy, and the map guy having the like knowledge of like, it goes a little bit further, I think, to have a map guy who's doing your stuff to know like, oh, okay, yeah, this is how you shoot the, this is how it would affect a mech, from going to the right or left, or pop tarting, or hey, those little fucking steps on like Viridian Bog, but those are the things. Is like, oh, from like, it may sound good or whatever, but like in play and practice, so
it's not the same. No, there's so many like variables to it and stuff. But that like another point I was going to say, which is to get away from a bit from the map stuff, is like I think the leaderboards. This is such a, I don't know if you know this. The leaderboard system in MechWarrior is what makes it toxic. Is what makes people salty. And it's what makes people have a bad time. Because I've been in this hole as well, and it's the Jarls list. Because man, I hate it so much. But this is my take. I think the Jarls list makes people hate the game, and it also makes people toxic as fuck. Because if that didn't exist, suddenly all these sweaty boys would not be worried about having a bad game, because no one would know. Once that match is over, it's gone. It's over. It's fine. But if you're farming your match score, like you are trying to be top 100, top 50, top 10 players every single month, if you have a bad game, you hate your team, you hate the mech you're in, you hate everything, because you're like, oh, this sucks.
Do you think that affects a lot of people though?
It affected me, and I'm talking personally, because like when I was kind of like in the middle of my MechWarrior content career, I guess you could say, people were saying like, oh, you're good at the game, like you're good. And then I've had people say, oh, you're good at the game, but I've checked your Jarls list, and it, you seem to be better than what your Jarls list is telling. And that like offended me. I was like, what is this Yars list? So I check it out and it's like, oh my God, I can see my stats from 5 years back. Like, and like they could be terrible. And I'm like, oh my God, people are looking this up. Like they're looking up my stats and judging me off of them. So then I get into this mindset of, oh, I need to do good every game. I need to get some numbers in this game, because if I don't, people are going to think I'm not good at the game, and then maybe they won't watch me because, maybe I'm not good enough for them. So then it's that wormhole. You get into it, and then suddenly when I'm having bad days and, bad games, I am feeling it. Like it is affecting me mentally. It's making me hate the game, start maybe getting a bit too like obsessed with how my team's doing, what other people are doing. And it's like, it's very toxic. And I know people still do this. I know people still farm their match score, and they're ruining the games for themselves, because you should be able to run troll mechs or fun mechs like a Lerm Locust or something. Maybe you only do 200 damage, but it was fun. Yes, you didn't get over 400 match score, and it's not going to put you in the top of the players list at the end of the month, but you're having a good time. And I think if they removed leaderboards, people would chill out. It would be a pleasant place, because there's no pressure to do good. No one's going to check your stats. No one's going to judge you, because there's nothing to judge. It's just the game. Just game after game. I don't know. That's a personal take.
No, I think it's a good topic. I don't know how many people it all affects. I think some of the, like, what you're describing to me comes off as like the young man's game, ego and challenge and pride. And it's funny enough, because did you get involved with the comp scene?
I was invited multiple times to like come play it, but I never really. The problem, it wasn't because I didn't want to; it was because of time zones. I couldn't find people to play with that were going to be not requiring me to stay up to 4 a.m. in the morning to do it.
I think. Would it be a leap to say you went from casual playing to where you were taking things way too seriously?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. The reason I say that is over the course of since 2013, I have seen people go from casual to comp, and literally them not enjoying the game unless it's comp, which is fine, because they get so frustrated in the public queue and I've heard it over comms, like someone just like losing their shit, like do this or do that, or why don't you do this, or oh my God, you're so, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like it's like what it does is it takes away that glimmer, that twinkle in your eye about just enjoying the game, right?
Yep.
And the reason I say I think it's a young man's problem is like, cool story, you're better than
you wouldn't care
than me. Like I just don't care. Like cool, like way to flex, like it doesn't. Oh, I mean, to me, I'm old enough. Maybe I've been through enough struggles in real life, whether it's, I don't know, like go to real war, to me, that's where I could be like, I've whenever I have kids, I have a daughter, you can't scare me sort of thing, like whether, whatever it is. So I don't know. I hear you. I guess the counter that the question would be, what are the positives to having a leaderboard? Like the Jarls list is pulling from PGI's API.
Yeah.
Basically, it's pulling, it's like, so for those who don't know, MWO Jarls list, that's JARLS list. The Jarl, I met him in real life at MechCon. He was a character. Role played, like literally role played. Some people that matters. Like I don't.
I reckon it's only the top 1% that care about that, probably. Maybe the top 5%. Like you could probably open yours list, look at the top players, they're the ones that care. Anyone under like the top 500 maybe don't care. Yeah.
I mean, I remember looking a few years before I had my kids, like I used to play a lot, or I thought I did. And I'm like, dude, I'm streaming for like 8-10 hours a day, sometimes more. And you have triple the amount of games that I have. I'm like, holy shit, like triple, quadruple. And I'm like, okay. So yeah, I don't know. I would go on a limb and say I don't think leaderboards are a problem. I recognize what you're saying, and that's where
I think it's the mentality of it. It's not so much the leaderboards. It's like, I think I'm just talking like for people, you know, like I think I've seen myself get into that mindset where it's like, I care about these stats, I care about these figures, and I know people are checking my stats and figures sometimes. So then it makes me care even more. Obviously, right now, I couldn't give a shit. Like, I don't care anymore. I don't care what anyone thinks about how I play. You know, I'm doing what I do. I'm just trying to play the game my way. But which is why I put in every description of my video the words "play the game your way," because it's like I don't want people to fall into that mindset, because obviously it's still a small percentage of people that are probably like that. But I think like people should realize, as we were saying earlier on, like it's more of a casual game. Like it's quick play is not comp. It's two different things. Like
it also your expertise at a video game. I mean, I guess that's cool. I mean, especially like if you're a streamer or you're a content creator that is trying to highlight, like, for instance, like listen to me listen to the things I say because I am good at the game and here's proof. Like I could see that, and that's not. I don't see that as an ego thing. I think it's more of like validation of like what I'm saying. You should listen because you can also
give you a bit of weight. Well. Yeah.
My thing is, I'll go out there on ego. You can watch my stream and come to the same conclusion that I'm good at the game. But if you looked at my stats, I'm not any, like, I'm probably just, I know I'm above average, but the reason being is because I don't give a shit as far as stats wise, but also what I do on my stream. If I had a case, what was it yesterday? I was like, I pushed dot and I was like, yep. And that was a mistake, you know, instead of saying, oh, my team sucks, matchmaker, this game sucks, this map design, blah, blah, blah.
Everyone.
It's like, no, I just did something stupid. I was super aggressive and like, yep. And I try to own up to that on stream. But also I give two shits about what you or anybody else thinks as far as like whether I'm good or not. And I'm just being brutally honest with you. I just don't care.
I think that's why you should be, like, with a game like this, because I don't think this is a competitive game. I think MechWarrior is a casual game. It's not balanced like a competitive game. The maps aren't good enough to be competitive. Like if it was like comparing it to like Valorant or CS:GO or League of Legends or all these other completely different games, but you know, they're competitive for a reason. I don't think MechWarrior is that. So I think when people bring the competitive mindset into quick play, you're either ruining it for yourself or you're ruining it for your team, because your team's not good. Like you said,
bro,
it's not going to be the top tier players every single time.
And it's so wrong of you to expect a casual mech dad to perform at what you believe is whatever. And I've had to, and I don't know if they're listening to this, but if they do, I've had to cut people out of my streams. Like I have to, if you're being super negative, man, fuck, man, dude, Debbie Downer, you're doing it. Like, I don't have depression. Oh, bro, you are bringing me down, man. Like, and also too, is it's like, it puts me as a streamer in this awkward position of like, dude, I just want to be like, stop being so fucking negative. Like who, we're going to win some. And I've had to catch myself where I'm too focused on like, we should be winning or whatever, or like we'll throw a match. But the reason where sometimes I think is where it's like, you know, I always say like we're decent players when we're dropping in groups, generally speaking, but we're not coordinated. So what I mean by that is like, I'm not taking a build to synergize with your build to synergize with your build to synergize. And so when we go in and, you know, blah, blah, and, you know, so yeah, man, I you know, as far as the sweatiness and stuff like that, or people getting upset, yeah, I've had some incidents in stream where people just like rage and you're like, bro, you need to go touch grass, man. Like
it is just a game at the end of the day. Like it shouldn't.
And that happens everywhere though. It's not just MWO, but it's like
sports
cool
fans or something.
Yeah, it's like cool story, bro. Like, like, all right, see you on the next few matches. Like, but yeah.
I do think it's just the mindset thing. Like, I think if you're someone that's not enjoying MechWarrior at the moment, maybe just take a step back and like reevaluate how you're kind of experiencing the game, because you should be able to try funny things, stupid builds, silly strats maybe. And if it doesn't work, that's fine, but don't be like hating on your team because it didn't work, or like other people. It's
You ready for a hot take?
Go on.
I'm gonna say something, and I'm also a part of this. I think hot take groups I think group players are negative to the game population, but also I enjoy dropping groups because I just like the hanging out with the boys and us just, blah, blah, blah. So like, I think both things can be true at the same time. And what I mean by that is, before all of you solo players out there are like, yeah, you tell them, Phil, is I used to play only solo, like until Soup Q. And then I fucking hated playing the game because it was like, dude, like I have in solo prior 12v12 solo, it was chaotic and random, and the game expected you as a individual, even a good player, to like you really had to shine, but you could. And then you got, when that rug was pulled underneath, is like, now I'm dropping solo, and I just ran up against Mitsu and his fucking Viper gang, and they're just they're just fucking destroying us. And scale shot, and like you're ruining the experience. But also I get that, and I mean ruin in the sense of like I don't have the control of the outcome of the match. And this is the shitty thing about Soup Q, is basically when they introduce groups and solos back together, is it heavily favors the group players. Not all the time, by the way. Not all the time. It does happen. But predominantly, if you're on comms and, you know what mechs your friends have, blah, blah. I mean, of course, you have matches where that's not the case. Or even there's been times where, since a little bit ago, you can have multiple, like a 4-man and a 3-man together on a team or more. And there's been a few times, there's a few times where it's like, you think like, oh, we're stacked, and actually you just get rolled. And it's like,
the opposite happens.
This is where I'm like, we should have won this. How did we not win this? And it is what it is. But
it's the fun of it, though.
Yeah.
I don't think groups ruin the queue, though. Like, I think, like, the other day when I released the this Shadowhawk video with the 2H with the 3 LBX2s and the rocket launchers, like that's a kind of a gross build, a lot of DPS, and I was playing, and then suddenly Bear Claw joined me, Sir Claw, and I've never played with him before, so I was really excited, and we was playing together. It was me, him, Mitsu, and Hulk, and we was all running the Shadowhawk 2H with it. And I felt disgusting. It was like, this is so wrong. And I feel
Seal clubbing,
yeah, I feel guilty, and obviously Beckle loved it. He was having a great time. But I feel like remorse from doing that. It's like, oh my God, I feel bad because I don't know if, it's like I should feel like that. It's same with like if you're running scout shots or, anything like that.
But when I say you're ruining it's bad for the game, I'm saying that objectively, like from the game balance. And I always objected, even when they announced 12v12, I was on my when they announced 12-man groups, I was on my honeymoon. So I couldn't freaking
you could do it,
hey guys, I don't think this is a good idea. And by the way, neither did any really good players. They're like, what you're about to unleash. And I think MWO struggled with the idea of like balance and player choice. And I think they screwed the pooch on opening that Pandora's box. You look at any other free to play, because MWO is a World of Tanks clone in the sense of that's what it's based off of. And World of Tanks max group you can have is a 3-man in a 15-man side. And that's for a reason. Now, granted, they don't tier gate. Like they don't have
they have tiers. Yeah. No skill-based
matchmaking. Yeah, but like as far as skill, like so I think they created their own issue. Buckets, how many buckets we had, faction play. I mean, we've had a lot of just a lot of things, decisions. But man, as far as like MWO is concerned and balance in matches, it's like I said, a few days ago, someone asked me, And I was like, man, I just really just enjoy streaming and hanging out. And I've just made it part of my day. I have viewers that have made it part of their day. We're drinking coffee. We're talking. There's been a few times where like I'll look up and we're 50 minutes an hour into the stream and I haven't even dropped or done anything. Like,
flies by.
So I think that's a important part to like cultivate that community sense and make people feel that they're a part of something, but also a part of your life. And it is a weird one-way street to some extent. Because I say sort of because at the end of the day, they can see me. I can't see them. They feel like they know me, and I don't really know them as much. And then because of MechCon, I've been able to meet some of the people. And so you get to know people over the actual like years, and some friendships occur like outside of just gaming and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
it becomes a bit more real.
Yeah. So yeah. As far as getting upset, I that's a young man's game, I think. Yeah.
It is, because I think it's just being competitive, I think it's like young man's game, but also like the people that want to do good and do numbers and have a
totally
legacy in that
acceptable.
way, say I was one of the best players, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think groups are ruining the queue as such. I think it's just it's luck of the draw, really. Because I have people comment on my videos like, oh, I'm really struggling to get into tier 3 or tier 2, and I'm like, don't worry about it. Like, just
don't worry about it. Yeah.
Just play. Just enjoy the game.
Yeah.
Arguably could get worse the higher you go. So just
don't get
yourself.
sweatier. Don't.
Yeah.
Don't actually become tier 3. Go down to tier 4 or 5. It's better that way.
I think it's true though.
Yeah. It's I've had multiple people, and it's like don't chase that dragon unless you want to. If you're into that,
I think it's nice to have something to aim for. Like, obviously, like if you play any game, you're like trying to rank up. That's kind of like how games are, isn't it? Like you're trying to go up in some way or the other.
But it's like a prestige in those games, not here though.
Is. It's like here, it's just like I'm trying to be a higher skill level. But I think like the goal should be, I think the goal with MechWarrior should be like try and build a cool build and obviously see if you can get it to work. Whereas not so much, I need to get higher in these tiers, go against more sweaty people, become one of them. But yeah, I don't know. I think it is what it is, and there's not much we can really do about it now. Anyways, with MechWarrior, it's it's a one-man team at the moment, isn't it? So
yeah, I'm
kind of set how it is.
Yeah, I don't think people realize that too. And obviously, as we're recording this today, they announced DLC 8 for Mercs. So I was expecting clans to have a bigger launch success, and I don't know if you follow, like I don't know if you care, but like EG7, the owner of PGI, they do their public companies, so you can check their quarterly reports. There's a lot of stuff that's been happening in the last bit. I'm going to talk about it on another video format of like just a rundown, but like it's not looking good. And so PGI's license for, and people, the licensing really isn't as confusing as some people make it to be. If it's a video game, it's through Microsoft. If it's a physical product, it's through not Tops anymore. Fanatics owns them. And so Catalyst Game Labs is the one of the license. Microsoft can license out to multiple studios if they want. So like if they're like, for instance, that's why we had Harebrained Schemes do BattleTech and MechWarrior Online. I think the first license they did, HBS and PGI came up with a deal because that's how they shared art assets. That's why it's the same mech 3D assets. That also sped it up so that like they didn't have to recreate their wheel. But also I felt like it was a really smart decision. So it was like continuity between products and like the artwork. But right now, the only one doing a MechWarrior title is PGI. And PGI, the reason why we didn't get Mech 6 was because they already had a license that was coming to an end in 2025. But I'd heard that there were stipulations where that could be extended, give or take. And of course, we don't know the ins and outs of the licensing deal. But I think a lot of people don't really understand, like if you're a developer and you go to Steam, automatically you're losing 30% off the top. That's just a par for the course to get to that audience. So that's just, it is what it is. 30% is going to them. Now imagine you're working with an IP, a Microsoft, and you launch on Game Pass, and Clans was on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Bro, everybody and their mother could play your game for $9 or whatever it is and then stop.
Yeah, just stop at any point and
never play it again. Never play it again. Whereas the DLCs, and that's where we've sort of seen DLCs, I think have been net benefit for them, because that's all, because Microsoft, I don't think takes, as far as the Game Pass is concerned. The other factor is we don't know what the license agreement is. Does Microsoft take 10%? Is it only a Game Pass, or is it we have no idea. So I don't think PGI is going to move away from MechWarrior. I just think because of the games industry is in a really bad spot right now, and then EG7 is in a really bad spot. I believe the figures are, when PGI was acquired by EG7, they were valued over $1 billion company as far as like EG7 publisher. They're a, I think that they're like on 100 million valuation now.
That's bad. Yeah.
And so, and two guys have sort of come in and bought shares to take over and sort of move the company in a direction. Like I said, I'm going to do a video on it. But like, holy shit. That's a big problem. So the reason I bring that up is, if PGI needs capital investment, which means just money, because Russ said it would cost, this is a few years ago, right? $30 million to do a Mech 6. Well, what is the number now? And where are you going to get that $40-50 million? Is it going to be through EG7? How does that work? I've speculated that the end of this year, they're going to announce something. I could see maybe if they come at Microsoft a little bit different, and Microsoft is one footing the bill, maybe they make a Mech Assault. Maybe they do a combo, like whatever. And I don't know. To me, I've sort of felt that them bringing everybody under one roof would probably be the smarter play. Like, dude, I remember talking to a community manager of another studio, and he was like, I don't really understand why you guys have MechWarrior Online, MechWarrior 5, Mercs, and Mech 5 Clans. He was like, you have 3 products that could be all under one roof.
Yep.
And
I'm so disappointed. I thought, sorry to jump in, I thought that Clans was going to be this big thing, because I bought it when it came out. I kind of saw it as like, oh, maybe this will be a chance for me to proper get into the MechWarrior space on YouTube. So I was like, get MechWarrior Clans, start a playthrough, do all the ideas we was discussing earlier, and push it. But then I was playing it, and I was like, I'm not really enjoying this game. it's like it was okay, but like I didn't enjoy the missions. The cinematics were nice, but I think that was putting potentially money in the wrong place. I don't think it was worth probably what they paid to get those cinematics. And I was just overall disappointed with the game. And then the multiplayer fiasco that happened, which was just unbelievable decision making from them, is the only way I can put it.
Can you call it multiplayer?
No, it was co-op. It was co-op.
Yeah, co-op PvP. Yeah.
I wish Clans was MechWarrior Online too. I think it should have been. Clans should have been a DLC for Mercs, even though I haven't played Mercs, because I'm kind of talking up my arse. But from an outside perspective, I guess Clans should have been Mercs DLC, just adding clan mechs, that whole fiasco, and then build MechWarrior Online too, or just make Mercs and Clans into one game, and but turn that into multiplayer, tweak it. Like you said, instead of 3 different IPs, just bring it all together into one.
Yeah, I think they were hedging their bets on they had heard people say, and I said it on record. I said a story-driven experience. The crux of that is we also said a good story driven. And so you did the story part, you did the cinematics. It's tough because when I talk about MechWarrior 5 mercs or MechWarrior 5 clans, I try not to beat a dead horse. I've said, and mercs from mercs launch to now is a lot better as far as depth. But I said this, the problem with mercs is it was as wide as an ocean, as deep as a puddle. It didn't really have a whole lot of depth. And then clans had these, I mean, literally it was like point, click and shoot, load upon medium pulse, alpha. And their also issue was they didn't allow any tactical options. You couldn't play tactically. Like you couldn't execute perfectly, because how their balance was we're going to throw more at you. Their enemies are literally going to have a magical armor to absorb more damage. And then we're just going to throw more at you, instead of saying, hey, you get flanked, or there's real, there's things are on the line as far as like, you get ambushed, or you gave tactile options like, hey, here's your assault area. You get to choose how you approach it. But because it was just basically load up alpha strike, and how the AI operated, it just, to me, it's like, I did an entire video of it. Like it's like a military, like Mech 5 games are a military themed game with no military theme bearing on how military operations actually work and or executed. Like there's no patrols, there's no QRF, enemies don't retreat in GTFO. Like
it kind of be like playing Armor Reforger or an armor game that's a military sim. Put that whole game into a Call of Duty map and say, here you go, shoot your enemies. It's basically it. There's no tactics behind it. There's nothing.
Yeah, and there's got to be, I feel like there's got to be like, you have to have skin in the game, and you have to be like risking something. And most of the clan missions were literally just, you're going down a corridor and you're focused. And I think there would be obviously missions. What was it? Tukid. Yeah, because Comstar chose these battle areas to funnel you in or do stuff like that. But like, excuse me. I think the lack of tactical choice really just sort of hurt, at least my experience with clans and mercs, and it was cool to see their take on what they figure the Jaguars were. Also, though, some of the characters I didn't believe. There wasn't as much interact. It was. I've said this before. I feel like clans and mercs is as best of what PGI can achieve. Yeah. And they've risen their game for cinematics. So now we expect that. Mercs DLC, the Wolves of Tukid, I think it did really well because it added what you said. Here's the problem I think you touched on but didn't say is, you said the clan should have been a Mech 5 Mercs add-on DLC. The problem is it wouldn't have hit as big, which it didn't hit as big anyways. But I think moving forward, I think if PGI is wise that's probably the direction they're going to go. They're going to do another DLC for clans just because they've already said as much, and it makes sense maybe to do Jade Falcon. But like if Mech 6, if they do another license, MechWarrior 6 Mercenaries, they realize like, hey, for longevity, we're going to have this big wide open map. You can do whatever you want, and then we're going to interject these DLCs. And it's going to add those story elements and more quality of life and just sort of stuff. But you let the player, like imagine Cyberpunk. I've said this. Cyberpunk to me, it's such a great game. But when I played it, and I haven't played it for a while, but when I played it, the first thing that struck me was like, God, this is great. Like all these, like, it's amazing looking, and then it got me thinking, fast forward a little bit. Imagine if they used a large language model so that every character you interacted with could have a unique dialogue, which maybe also splintered off into quest items or helped you solve quest items, that you could go into any room or hack any room or do whatever and all this stuff. I think the game wise, to me, that's a huge immersion factor. I know it's sidetracked MechWarrior that, but like Mercenaries, if you could set up a better modular system, not I'm trying to think of the word, their generation, their map generation, it felt very lacking. Like all the maps are literally a square or a rectangle or a bigger square or a longer rectangle.
It is like procedural generation.
Procedural generation. Yeah. Thank you so much. Totally. So I think they've learned a lot. And if someone's listening to this, I'm not shitting over them. This is just being objective. I really enjoyed playing Mech 5 Mercenaries, Wolves of Two Kid. It was the first one where I was like, dang, this is really close to probably being the best MechWarrior single player game there is, in my opinion. It's still lacking a little bit. And I've sort of been critical of like the lack of customization on mechs. Like Heroes of the Inner Sphere was a huge missed opportunity, I felt, where you let the player customize a hero mech, or going back to the inspiration sort of dogma of BattleTech fans. I feel like one of the issues we run into is they feel things have to be done a certain way.
Yeah. And
how customization is done. And I've said my issue with the mods and customization is, if you look at BattleTech Advanced, Rogue Tech, MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, yet another mech lab, it's just a wall of fucking mess, dude. It's just, and just, if anybody is like, don't you dare, and I'm not shitting on it. What I'm pointing out though is, I think we need some inspiration from other titles, other genres to come in and shake things up. Because like, I felt like, cool, like that, your starting Centurion mech and Mech 5 Mercs should be this badass piece of machinery. The problem is we have this weird idea of like an autocannon 10 fires an AC round and then you have to wait X amount of cooldowns to fire another AC round, and that your lasers have a cooldown. And you read it in the novels, that's a walking machine of death. Like, how do you translate that into a single player game? And I feel like they bound themselves with these like cuffs, and a locust with one medium laser and some machine guns is absolutely terrifying to freaking infantry and light armored vehicles and backs of other mechs. But in Mech 5, it literally doesn't matter, because I can only pull that trigger every 3 seconds. Instead of in the novels, one of the earliest things is like, and again, highly recommend reading them if you haven't, but like, you pull the trigger and that's how quickly that medium laser is firing. What is the side effects? Well, heat buildup. Yeah, right. And well, not only that, it's like the mech is like, I'm going to put energy towards your weapons, but it's going to take away from other things like cooling your mech. How fast does it go? Like, and then of course, what happens if you pass? My point being is,
different way of doing
things are a lot deadlier in the lore, and how do you make a game system to where you can make that deadly? In that. So again, I go back to the Centurion. What if you had customization that had nothing to do with the weapon systems? Like but you could upgrade the engine, but not have to like drag and drop and fuck around with like crit space. What if you could just find an XL engine and made it faster? And what if you found a Pharaoh package, but it had nothing to do with crit system? It's just it's like these are the type of things that like and Mech 4 had the this sort of direction, and I think it could even evolve from that. I just feel like some things it fell short on customization. I think it missed the mark. The missions, the replayability, like what you're doing, it feels like it's the same planet over and over with a different skin on it. Like what you're doing, like
because when I played Clans, like I didn't even finish the game, to be honest, but like it was two things that you said. Like, I didn't like the mech grabbing clans. I thought it was so limiting on what you could change and what you could do. Like I wanted to be able to be a bit more free, maybe even more free than what MechWarrior Online is, with what you can do, because it's a single player game, so it should be your decision really. But it's very limiting. And then like there was also like they invested all this money, you could tell, into the cinematics and the characters, but I felt absolutely no connection towards a single character in that game. And it's because I feel like you don't actually interact with them. You watch the cinematics, but you're not interacting, you're just watching it. Like there's no, like Cyberpunk, there's no talking, you know, decisions. I don't know if they do have that later in the game. I know you can pick like different ways you go.
No, there's none of that. No.
Oh, well, there you go. So I feel like for a single player game, it needs that, because it needs to immerse you into the game. It needs some like variables, you know, different decisions, like responses to your decisions, consequences, not just here's a mission, drop in, kill these mechs, shoot this building, walk here. Next mission, kill these mechs, shoot this building.
You literally just described every single, the entire Mech 5 client.
Because I feel like
exactly,
like, because I know it's probably, I haven't played, so I'm kind of, I don't know if I should talk, but the older games, which I haven't played, but I know you have, they would have probably got away with it being like that, because it was earlier in the stage of gaming as a whole. Like it was like, wow, I can drive a mech, I can shoot things. You know, no one cared how the graphics looked or what, if everything was this, that, and the other. But nowadays, technology is so much more advanced that you're giving us this game that's meant to be like that, and it's just it was like that 10 years ago.
Did not coordinate this, but I've literally said that. I've said BattleTech fans are so starved for content, they'll accept mediocrity and then promote it like it's the next best thing to slice bread. And that's a fault of their own, because again, it's okay to just call, you know, like it's like okay. But like I've seen people like just claim like clans is like this amazing thing, and I'm like, amazing? Like, here's the problem. There's other games that are amazing. And nowadays, because to your point, we have comparisons now.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, it's 2025, 2026. And, you know, granted, Mercs was 2018, which is crazy because it's an almost 10-year-old product.
It is, yeah.
Which is about to get their 8th DLC. Excuse me. So I feel like that's one of the points I made, is like, it's a fear of BattleTech fans of the dark age again. You would have been too young, but like from 2000, about 2000, because Mech 4 Mercenaries, Black Knight, Cold, we went dark, man. Like and nothing happened until PGI. So like, yeah, there was Living Legends. I've talked about that, but like there was nothing official. And so people are deathly afraid of that. And also too is I think it's an old guard. Again, guilty. I'm 42 now, but like the majority of the player base is older. So like, you know, not my battle, don't touch it, blah, it's my way, you know. And unfortunately, like that does impact how things are looked at. But also too is like, I think so many people, fans of BattleTech, do not realize business comes first. Where is the business model for a game? What is being, you know, like it's gotta sell, and not like be gimmicky. Like they don't have to do. I'm just saying, like, look at the gaming industry. It's in shambles right now. It's not, entertainment in general is in a weird spot, but gaming isn't a bad. And that's why you have rehash shit, is because it's safe. Because if you're an investor, I tell people, like, what would, if I gave you $100 million right now and I was to say, put it on a genre you think would do well, you wouldn't, would you even see on the list a mech genre? Like,
oh no, yeah, it wouldn't even be on there. It wouldn't. Yeah, like that's the thing. It wouldn't. Like it's such a. I feel like that's another point I actually put on my notepad is MechWarrior marketing. It's like, I feel like if I never played MechWarrior Online, I don't think I ever would have known that MechWarrior 5 Mercs exists, MechWarrior Clans exists. I don't think I even would have known what BattleTech was. And I don't think I even ever got marketed MechWarrior Online. I think I just randomly found it one day, which is like, do they market to these games? Like, I don't see anything. Obviously, they market to BattleTech people, but are they looking for new fans, bring new people in?
That's a good question.
Like, where's that, Paul?
Yeah, marketing, man. I feel like marketing's changed in since 20 since YouTube. Like
Yeah,
everything changed. Because like what is marketing? I mean, you my argument is just make a really fucking good game and that's like your best marketing.
should be able to
But
carry it. Yeah,
I think the reality of it is even good games get lost in the sauce, man. Like there's YouTubers that I follow that are like, "Hey, here's my top 10 games that you probably never heard of, but like I
yep.
think are really good." Um, and I don't think MechWarrior is can escape that. But here's the thing: the one X factor here in all this conversation is that PGI has that it's their they can just pull it out of their pocket is it is MechWarrior. And that MechWarrior fan base, BattleTech fan base is deep. I mean, it sucks that we're not getting a BattleTech 2 by HBS, which by the way, if you haven't played BattleTech, dude, it's
I need to try it. I haven't played it,
it's
but
good. It's
I've watched
good.
people play it a lot.
Yeah. I always tell people play the base game, then you're
Is
going
that
to want to roll into modded.
Is that the turn-based one where you
Mhm.
you do a bit like because the closest thing to that I've played is probably XCOM.
Yep.
And I liked the old. I didn't like the new XCOM 2 game. I think it was just too much. I couldn't get into it. But I liked the old ones, like I think it was Alien Invasion. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
But I liked those games. I thought they were fun. Like you can have your own squad, your own people. I made obviously my friends in the game, and I'll
Kill
be
them
sad
off.
when I get. Yeah, I'll be sad when I die.
Yeah, that's what I do. I do like a join where someone could just donate whatever and they get added to the roster.
Put their name in it.
Yeah. I'm like, we got a really good program for next of kin. If they want to seek revenge after your death, really good, medical. We cover the cost of your prosthetics and in-or medical care on the Argo. So yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's I know we've sort of gone all over the place, but like I want to see another online game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's one. I always have to correct someone because they'll say MWO2. It's not going to be an MWO2. Go ahead and erase that from your memory. Russ has stated on my podcast that model's dead. And realistically, I'm glad because I fucking hate games that are how do I say this? When everything you're doing is impacted by a game design for a mechanic, for a paid mechanic, it just really irks me. I just want to buy your game, and like that's why like some of the systems and clans, they're the unlocking and doing this and your weird little research mark. It just really, I did an entire video that broke down. I was like, this is all like pointless. I was like, so excuse me. But yeah, I hate games that have mechanics that instead of just designing for the enjoyment of whatever your game mode or game is, you got to have these things. And I don't know if they're going to do a successor to MWO. The real thing is, and I've asked Magic Pinglove this. Me and him in my streams have been like, no, there's no way Mercs has sold way more than MWO, blah, 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 blah. And then come to find out, like, over the course of its life, yeah. And then you would have thought that we'd have got MWO, okay, Mercs, and then you would have had a follow-up to MWO, but no, we got another single-player game. So then that puts the question is PGI just not really want to have to deal with that? Is that the online, the stuff, are they just not sure about the market because of business decision? How would they do it? Because Russ has stated they required basically not whales, but their conversion on for like per person to how much you spend needed to be really high because the population was a lot smaller comparatively. Whereas, they can sell you a $40, $50 game and then sell you $20 DLCs over the next course of the year, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah.
That was a point as well. I was going to say, and this might be a shot in the dark, but do you think it would be a bad idea as a save MechWarrior Online thing to make it similar to World of Warcraft, where you pay a subscription each month to play the game? Obviously, they still do the Legend packs, the Annihilation pack, all that stuff. But to just keep the game alive and fund it, they introduce, because like the demographic for the game is a working aged male, probably, like generally it's a male audience, mostly because it's BattleTech military, you know, like any other game like that. And they're all, as you said, like maybe 30 to, it could be anything. It's such a wide demographic, but mostly it's not really a kids game. You don't see many kids playing this game. So
yeah,
I don't think it would be the worst idea to make it so you pay £10 a month, £15 a month, or dollars, and keeps the game alive, keeps the servers alive, maybe even funds a little bit, you know, maybe a developer here or there, you know, something they can put it towards just to keep the game going.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind
Russ mentioned that on the last podcast I did with him, and he was just spitballing. I think the reality of it is the PGI is a Canadian company. I think there might be legalities where it prohibits, especially European and stuff, and Canadian, where it would, because someone, I think this is a valid question. Like, how can we, as a community, can we do something that, from a monetary standpoint, that justifies more spending on MWO? And from what I've seen, the answer is no, because, you know, it's like, well, we've bought all the mech packs. You know, we're doing all this. What else do we have to do? I think MWO makes enough money to keep the servers online. Maybe, like, again, I think it's a net. If PGI, they may just be operating in a net, like it makes a little bit of money, but it just doesn't. I mean, what's the salary for like a full-time employee? Let's just say it's up there, 50,000-60,000. Again, I don't know. How many, you know, Teos isn't even dedicated to MWO. He's doing other stuff as well on the other products. So, yeah, I guess what I'm saying is I don't think it's a bad idea, but I think that time came and passed, and there may be legalities that prevent.
Yeah, because they could really lock you out of the game if you've already invested stuff into it.
Dude, and that's, and that also, we've talked about, like, you've got European countries that have laws against you just shutting down games. Like, well, they own that. It's like, well, if there's no one fucking to play it, then how are you going to do that? And also, if the game was never, like, the game was never built structurally behind the scenes to where it could be ran offline, then and this is sort of, it's an interesting thing because it gets into like regulatory stuff for like devs of like, you have to design the game in the thought of at the end of life. You know, it's like, well,
you don't know what's
how does
happen.
I mean, you know, and so that's been my the argument of like, people are like, oh, you know, like, okay, they come out with MechWarrior 6. Mech 6 has it's single player, co-op, PvP, everything. It's the next best. It's freaking amazing. Legally, I think I don't think they can shut down the servers for MWO. I don't think they can turn them off. But then what if there's no one there? And then they have to, like, because if it was me, it's like you have to funnel people and say, hey, it's time to move on. But you can't legally, I think they would be bound to keep it on. And people are like, well, they should just give it to the community. They can't do that because people have bought stuff, right?
Money.
And so there's a legal, that's why, like, I didn't catch on to it when he said it on the podcast. But now it's like, I don't think legally you can. I don't know if there's anything in your small print that frees you from that burden, but a lot of European countries have cracked down on that, just to, like, I think justifiably, like, all of a sudden you play Anthem and it's fucking gone. You bought the game and you can't play it offline. Like, that's a problem.
But that leads on to that question I have for you is like, what's next if MechWarrior shut down? The golden question, what would be next
for me?
Yeah, for you, like, individually, like, what would you lean into, like, BattleTech?
Yeah, this is a good question. This is something that's obviously been on my radar. I've talked to my wife a lot about it. I've talked about this recently on stream. I've I've been making changes behind the scenes from a business standpoint because, and there's a few reasons, and this MWO doesn't necessarily have to do with it, but like Twitch and platforms, and um, I made changes to my Patreon page because I've always, this is something you should look at, in my personal opinion, Patreon, because you're creative, you could do things. But like one of my things about Patreon is we never utilized the platform when me and Darren, it was just there. People could support, but we never utilize. And this is more ignorance on like mine and his part. We just, everything I know now is it's self-taught. And I've, all the stumbles and falls and everything and learn, like that. So I recently, I guess I needed to almost call it like an audit of my brand, my channel. What do I do? And I've been looking at YouTube. I've been looking at Twitch, YouTube live streams. I've been looking at my Patreon, my store. And what I've been trying to do, this is a long-winded way of saying is I'm trying to position, I would like NGNG in the grand scheme of things to be a hub for all things BattleTech, whether it's the tabletop, a new novel comes out, MechWarrior game comes out, whatever, fan projects, MechTech is working on something, or whatever. Okay, cool. Someone's doing a Mech Commander, whatever it is. I want to cover it. I want to talk about it. I want to be where that discussion here happens. And so that got me thinking of, because all of my, we talked about this literally, I'm glad you brought it up. We talked about this right before I went live, which is, I looked at like my MWO videos, and for the most part, even when I had a bigger live audience, I didn't really understand YouTube on like why videos hit more and don't and so forth. Like I didn't even know about freaking metadata until like I asked Baradul years ago. Like I didn't, but he did because that's what he did for his living, and so he knew that that system. Because I was always like, why is his video showing up in ours? Like, I was like, I never understood. I was like, we have but it was just more of ignorance because I just didn't know. Yeah. And also, back then, me and Darren weren't reliant on NGNG as far as YouTube, Twitch, Patreon to pay the bills.
Yeah, true.
So, long-winded way of me saying I am doing an audit of basically NGNG. I am refocusing Patreon. I've talked about this on my live streams, but into, we always say Mechbro, the Mechbro Battalion. So you can join the Mechbro Battalion. It's about sustainability, longevity. It helps so that I don't have to be tied to necessarily a platform, Twitch, Kick, YouTube. I don't have to worry about that's the end goal and sort of pitch. I'm going to be doing a monthly. Right now it's called a command briefing, but basically like a breakdown of like, this is what's going on in BattleTech every month, and you should be aware of this XYZ. Here's this cool piece of artwork and blah blah blah. I'm not going to overcommit to where I just sort of fall flat. So I'm baby steps. But what I did is I basically looked at all of my tiers, which ones were working, why weren't they working. I took some out, I rearranged them, I did different deliverables. I made a post describing that. I've been making changes to my store, my merch store, because being a small, like I pay the artist for the commission work. Well, okay, so I pay for a piece of artwork. How many t-shirts do I have to sell to pay that off or to be able to break profit, and stuff. So I basically been doing all this behind the scenes. I've talked about on stream. Long story short is ideally the community sees the value there. I deliver on the content and they support on that platform. That being said, I'm not stopping or promoting Twitch support. Because right now Twitch is still like my mainstay. Like if you were to look at objectively, like it's still my number one source of income.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a few sponsors, Patreon, my merch and stuff. I've like, it's funny because like some people, like I'm sure you've got a paycheck from your job. You have one. I have like 10 different like different things that come in at different.
Hard it is to
it's really not. It's actually it's not. I've got a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet.
Nice.
You know, this past year because I was part of that lawsuit, which that's a whole nother. I don't know if you even know about that.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah, that was fun. So I did form an LLC. That company can go fuck itself.
Yeah.
That law firm can go suck a big fat one for not doing their due diligence. Yeah, so you know, I've got my own LLC. I've got my own business bank account. You know, long story short, if MechWarrior Online goes away, it goes away. I'd pivot. I love playing BattleTech. What happens if like that doesn't go away? But like, okay, Phil, do you just play that? Obviously, you have to be creative. That's why I think BattleTech, like covering BattleTech news, I hope PGI does more. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, so I mean, if you have been,
like, I sometimes go back and watch your like super old videos from like bad. 10 years ago. It's so good though. It's cool to see like the journey you've been on.
Podcast.
Yeah.
Like, dude, we used to have like 6-hour, like 3-4 hour podcast. And granted, I know we're over 2, but I'm enjoying this conversation, right? But like,
it's good.
We used to just, oh, you know, what are they going to do? They could do this and just, you know, is it just this? I mean, audio quality, you know, you learn that that's something if someone's listening, if you're going to take anything out of it is like, you don't have to have the best camera. You don't have to have the best audio. In my opinion, you're an example of this, not saying you have is your content is what makes that good. Your content is what's going to drive people. And that's another thing is YouTube. That's why I think it's so important. I've slacked this past year. Granted, I had a son. We knew it was going to, I told the community, you know, I was like, hey guys, things are going to fall off. It's going to happen. I'll bounce back as soon as possible. And, you know, things are getting easier, but also in some ways it gets harder in some ways. But yeah. So what happens if MechWarrior BattleTech goes away? I don't know. Do I continue doing this? I don't know. I don't have an answer there other than I'll worry about it and cross that bridge. And what ideally I think is a platform like Patreon allows content creators to offload that burden, that financial like aspect off of their shoulders, so long as they're doing like the content to be able to do whatever they want. Like if I have, let's just say I stream and I've got 30 people. I go from what I normally do to 30 people, but everybody's still supporting on Patreon. It doesn't matter. Like, okay, cool. And I don't chase the numbers anymore. I recognize like, you know, so that's sort of how I've done it. I've just basically been doing an audit of NGNG. Yeah. What does NGNG need to be? What should it be? I don't think it would be smart for me to try to pivot into something I'm not like to try to be like a, I think Arc Raiders first person shooter or something like that or whatever. I just don't think that aligns with, and then you just be a dime a dozen. I don't know. Lean into the niche.
I feel like it'd be very hard for you. Like I think I saw TTP try and do it with Battlefield 6. He was trying to, he made a video saying like, oh, I'm going to make these guys and weapon learners, all that. And he made a few videos and then he never made one since because they just, you know, it's so hard to pivot out of your niche. So yeah, I think you're in a really good spot though with BattleTech because your feet are already in that, like already planted, you know. You are a staple of BattleTech. Like people think of BattleTech, they think of you. And I think,
which is still weird, by the way. It's so weird.
It's true though. It's so true.
It's so fucking weird. It's still weird. It's like imposter syndrome. I don't.
Yeah, I feel like right now being on this podcast, but it's like it's true though, and yeah, I think because I've always come to your videos for info, like the patch notes, updates on the company, like new games that are coming out, all this stuff. And I think that's a very good spot for you to, keep your eyes in, or keep your hand in the game, and like,
one thing I
putting
haven't
videos
done
out there.
well that, and again, I took over in 2020, but one thing I haven't done well, and it took me a while to, and I made that statement, I was like, a rising tide lifts all ships. I wish out of one, I never wanted NGNG to be tied to a company where I couldn't voice my, like, do my own thing.
Yeah,
But it was
yeah.
like it was a means to an end, and it worked out. But like, ideally I would be doing what I do now. Like, if I was to snap my fingers, I would have do what I do now. I could still have a professional and business relationship with PGI back then, but it would have never been like, you don't get to dictate what I say or can't do. But also I'd have respect of not to like badmouth you on live stream, like, blah blah blah.
Go
But
up
like,
line, yeah.
I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna go play Slay the Spire 2 because I really enjoy it. And but yeah, so it's a very interesting thing to
Sorry,
think
that was
about.
a very like deep question for me to ask you. It's like,
no, I think it's great because again,
question.
I haven't done a video about it talking about the Mechbro Battalion or the changes or like YouTube. I feel like I don't know anything. I'm still so learning so much. I feel like another thing too is I feel like I've been lazy when it comes to content. In the sense of I feel like there's a huge missed opportunity. Like when Mech 5 Mercs came out, we were still under contract because YouTube really wasn't it wasn't important to our livelihood. I really didn't put in the effort to create Mech 5 Mercs content.
Yeah.
And whereas Baradul did, TTB did, and
he still is, yeah.
Yeah, and so you see like the subscriber difference and the reach difference. And my point being is I look at things a lot differently now, and what I'm trying to do is just understand what I do really well and like lean into it. I know I'm really good at ad-libbing. I'm really good at like patch, like I can, because I know enough about the universe, like I'm good at that, and so it's okay. And I'm passionate about BattleTech. I will be until I guess I can't be, but yeah, it's I hope PGI has something coming down the pipeline. I hope another studio steps up. I don't foresee it happening, but
you never know. Never say never.
I don't know. Yeah. Or more fan projects happen, and the same, like I don't care if it's a mod or a fan project. If it's good, and I'll play it and cover it, and cool story.
Exactly.
But yeah.
No, is like, do you still are you still in contact with PGI then, like you was? I know you're not probably as close as you was back in the day, but if you were like, let's say you emailed PGI and say, hey, can you give me some insight on something, maybe so you can make a video on it? Do you reckon they would?
I have a Discord. Full disclosure, they did that. They started the creator content program thing where you could apply to it and then you could get like a commission. It was almost like an affiliate link based.
Yeah.
They also started a Discord with it, and it was a invite only, which I disagreed with immediately because I said it should just be like anybody. I left that Discord a while ago because me and TTB asked questions multiple times and literally didn't get responses for well over months at a time.
It's rubbish, yeah.
And if you can't take a minute, and I'll give this part an example. It literally was like the day of Wolves of Tukia dropping that, like they, and it's like the issue with PGI is when they, had to cut all those jobs. They've always been horrible at communication. Matt Newman was the one who said that too. It's like, that's always the first thing to go. And that was sort of what NGNG provided, right? Like me and Darren were community managers, but not officially. And so we were a PR marketing arm and community management without the responsibilities of, community managers on like forums or whatever. But so we filled that role. So if new mech was coming out, we made the videos, blah, blah, blah. And by the way, we were even limited because we weren't there in the office. Like I'm in North Carolina, he was in California and then Washington. So like, so I guess my point being is, I left that Discord. I do have Discord conversation. I asked Matt Newman earlier for a graphic from the new DLC. He got it to me, so I still have that. As far as Russ, I've sent him multiple messages on Discord, not Discord, Twitter. He responded months ago. I could pull it up exactly, but I mean, I'm talking about like, but he hasn't. I've sent multiple since, because the tough thing is, if they are negotiating with Microsoft, the reality is he can't say anything anyways. Like even if they came to an agreement, he's not gonna. I guess technically he could do a podcast and spoil it, but he can't talk. Let's just say they're going to do Mech 6. They're gonna announce it at the end of the year. Fucking awesome. They're not going to get on right now and just be like, hey, unless he's going to drop a fucking grenade and run. But he's never in Twitch chat. I don't know. I burn a bridge when I made that video. And I think it really upset him, which sucks. But
was that the multiplayer one?
Yeah. And for context, it was Clan's first DLC, which we now have more information, but I will stand by what I said originally, which I was correct. PGI rushed this out the door because of pressure. This is complete speculation, so I'm not going to get sued for libel or whatever. But based on accounts and also maybe a conversation or two with someone who's no longer there, sidetrack. They did exactly what the community member has said, is they rushed this product out because EG7 was putting pressure on them because clans didn't sell well. I don't know why clans didn't sell well. I don't know if it was the lack of numbers or did my guess is, speculation is, Game Pass was a big factor of like
absolutely
hammered their sales. On top of that, I think a lot of people just didn't give a shit about it. They wanted to play their mercs. And again, going back to, if they would have been a big DLC, I think it would have done a lot better. It would have been like Wolves of 2 Kid, I think. But the one thing I will say is I think what Clans did is it raised the bar as their cinematics, and that's now the standard. Don't deviate from that. That's what it should be from here. So my video was basically saying is, hey, why are you charging for this when your game is linear? It doesn't tie into it at all. It's not like in between missions it says, hey, go work with your star of MechWarriors and get more familiar and XP, and you have to do a certain amount of sim battles basically on your, to unlock the, what they basically did like in Mercs was you'd hit a certain milestone as far as your mercenary rating, and then you had to go do other rating or missions to build that up. And once you hit certain milestones, a campaign mission would kick off. They didn't do that for clans. So my question is, why are you charging for this? Now, Magic Panglove has a great counter to that, and I think it's a valid argument, which he says, I think PGI was doing what they did with Mercs, which some of the game modes were behind a paywall. And so they just did that with clans. And I'm like, yeah, but it's different because you have a lot more other stuff to do. And here you're trying to do a PvP arena, but it's not
the whole
PvP
multiplayer thing. It's like,
I
don't think you can pay all that. It's crazy.
The other issue, Improvise, was their like game mode of like infinite spawns and stuff like that was so fucking boring. Oh, not to mention is we couldn't get through a game without it crashing. So, I just wasted 20 minutes, crashes. We're going to do it again. Oh, we just wasted 40 minutes. Let's restart. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And why is it so difficult to have a connect to buddy when any other game that has Steam, it's so easy to join? Yeah. Why are you like, why are you so bad? So my video basically just called them out, and I had a phone call with a certain someone. I'll leave it vague. that basically said I knew what I was doing, that I was the only one, that you're just trying to be a, like almost like an edgelord, if you will. You're just doing it for the clicks.
Trying to row out the community as well.
And objectively, okay, sure, I'll bite. Yeah, I knew what I was doing. But also, what I told that said person was, I believe every word I'm saying because you know it as well. And you know this is a total money grab and it is BS. And you work for the company and you can't say anything. I don't work for you and I believe I'm in the right. So do you know how you counter that is with truth? So feel free to, exactly. And what did they do? They basically pulled back because my thing was, and I did a video, I was like, oh yeah, not just the only one, is it? Go to fucking Steam reviews. And I remember saying this, I was like, you know what publishers and investors really hate more than worse sales? Fucking bad Steam reviews. I was like, oh, I'm the only one? Let's pull this up. And I just pulled it up. I'm like, it felt so personal to me because the person I was talking to, do you consider him a friend? All that, blah, blah, blah. And I think you were right. I think it's a valid criticism in the past. I've learned a lot working in that industry. But the problem I had was I was a fan first. So okay, you let me go. I felt like I would have been fine. I think that was my issue. Whereas other people are like, hey, dude, I got fucking kids. I've got to, more, now I'm in that position and I get it. And I empathize because I just didn't.
Yeah.
Give a shit because it's like, well, I'll be fine. I'm just being brutally honest with you guys. But the other factor of it is I felt I was in the right. I was like, dude, I'll sink it. It's like, yeah, you want to burn those bridges? I was like, if that, and then also it really bugged me because I had done a few sponsorships for PGI. And by the way, it was how do I say this tactfully? Look, man, if I've always felt that PGI, and this one thing me and Darren try to stress is small creators matter just as much. Your day-to-day guys that are like MWO streamers right now are so important to your daily. Now, they may not be your big YouTube celebrities and this and that, but they're keeping people entertained and plugged in on a day-to-day basis. And I've said this and I still believe it. It's so important. And when you threaten someone to say, well, you're not going to get any more sponsorships, dude, you don't pay my bills anymore. And your trivial amount of, what you're basically doing for a sponsorship, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like that's not buying me in. I don't care about your money. It's like, and again, it's just one of those things where that was thrown over my head too, or thrown at me as like, oh, well, we're just not gonna, I'm like, well, fine. I don't care.
Go for
it.
Yeah.
Cool story. And luckily I think it's Tios, the one he does injections into MWO accounts and he's continued to do that. There has been a few, after that, there was a little bit of a lull, but it's like, hey man, if you're a streamer to MWO or you like yourself, you're a streamer and you do MWO content, Tios or Matt Newman, I think it's Tios, should have everybody on a list and should be injecting those accounts unless they say otherwise. So Magic was like, yeah, I don't do that way. Nothing can be held over my, and I can respect that, but I also don't feel obligated to give you a good fucking review on a mech pack or whatever if you inject that in my account.
It should be real. It shouldn't be forced.
Play it. Yeah. Like if it's shitty, it's shitty. It is what it is. I'll create content if I want or blah, blah, blah. But my point being is, so that happened. It was all on a phone call and I basically was like, hey, I respect the person was trying to come at an angle of like, you're going to burn bridges. And I was like, well, I believe I'm in the right. And if that's the cost, that's the cost. Now, since then, like I said, I believe Tios, Matt Newman answers any questions, except like I said, that Discord. So I have no problem. I would have no problem with having more of a professional relationship in the future or whatever. Obviously, if they want to be standoff or, if they it is what it is, but I will not be censored and or restricted in what I say as far as that is in that regard.
I think it's a bad look as well, like to be someone under that umbrella that you have to say good things about a company or a product. And I think people see through that a lot more nowadays than they used to do. So yeah, like the fact that the way they kind of went about with you with just some negative feedback that they couldn't take essentially was a very bad move on their part, because it's not a good look, in my opinion anyway. Like it's, you know, you should be able to take constructive criticism and, you know, even bounce back a bit and say like, hey, well, this is our angle, you know, not just screw you, you're going to lose all this stuff, you know, hope you suffer kind of thing.
And it sort of rubbed me, even their announcement was was sort of it was like excuse me, it was sort of like, hey, we heard the feedback, what was it, it's going to be free now, but it was like the way they worded it, I almost want to pull it up just to like
I kind of remember it, yeah, because it was like because they did do exactly what everyone and even yourself said they should do. It should have been free from the start.
Yeah, hold on, I have to I'm pulling up the screen because I have to almost
they probably said like something like community feedback or something like that. Like,
yeah, but
community feedback.
Okay, here we go. That's Shadow of Kerensky. No, let's see. This was the first. Oh, there we go. No. Older. I'm gonna go back here because that's not Shadow of Kerensky. This is the first. This was before anything. Trials of War update. Here we go. That's what it was. This week, the Trials of Wars DLC will begin transitioning from paid add-on to free, plus anyone who purchased the DLC will receive. This timing of this transition, the refund process, blah, blah, blah. Let me... But it was how they say it. It was almost like... it's a gift to... Like how... I forget that I have to find it specifically. But it was sort of like how I read it was, no, you're not taking accountability. Just be like, hey, actually, guys, it was a really bad look. We could do better. All right, move forward. Cool story. Oh, here it is. Trials of War. It was the last sentence. These updates aim to bring you the best possible experience over the holidays, starting with an incredible gift.
A gift.
And to me, maybe I'm reading into it a little bit too much, but it was just one of those things that was like, no, you messed up. It's okay. I mess up all the time. If I'm a dick, I'm man enough. And how I look is like, and again, I think what's tough is like, excuse me. We had a very unique relationship with Russ. I mean, me and Darren did. I mean, if it wasn't for Russ, by the way, a lot of people give him shit. And again, you don't know him on an individual basis. Really good guy. He took care of me and Darren and NGNG when IGP was going under and tried to pull some shenanigans, let me tell you. He stuck his neck out for us and then he brought us aboard and we had full, and he left us to our own devices because there was a lot of, we delivered what we promised. One thing that Darren always told me, which still holds true, is make yourself invaluable so business can't let go of you. And I don't know how many layoffs there were, but we were pretty much the last. I mean, we stuck in there and, it was no fault of our own. I mean, it was, so yeah. Do I have a good relationship? I have a relationship, I guess. I haven't heard from Russ. I would love to sit down and talk shop. I think I drive him nuts because last time, first thing I started was, hey, what about MechWarrior Online? And you can almost hear the I don't give a not.
He's like, oh, not that again.
Yeah, he's like, can we talk about our new product, Phil? And I'm like, I considered him. I can see where the issue was. Is again, this very friendly relationship with the CEO, but then he's basically your one paying your bills back then. Like he's your boss. I put him on the spot a few times on podcasts and Darren about reached to the screen and killed me. But like I said, my problem was I was a fan first and I didn't really give that enough weight to like Darren back then, and I should have, and that's a mistake that I definitely own up to.
Where is Darren now? I don't actually know.
He's in Washington. He's doing his boat thing. I'm not really sure. I think he was ready to be over gaming, in all honesty. He was. I mentioned this earlier. I don't have depression. My last 2 years, from 2018 to 2020, I remember the first day I'd never missed a stream. And all of a sudden he sent me, it was back in like Skype, and he was like, hey man, you going live today? I was like, dude, I don't really feel like it. And he's like, take the rest of the day off and we'll talk tomorrow. And it was one of those things where like, it was prime, mercs and all the drama going on with the community of like, oh, you're taking resources, but no, no resources are being pulled from MWO, but that's not how a business works. Literally, that is what happened. I mean, because that's how a business operates. Like but also as a fan, you don't get to dictate how a business uses their money. That's not how that works. You good luck with that. That's not, they use the capital that they gain to move like that. Yeah, the tough thing was being a community manager, really, and just having a fucking just bury that down every single day, man. As a streamer, if you're listening to that, you're one of the trolls. Like screw you at the time, but like I get it. Like as a fan, like where it's like you're being gaslit of like. You're being told something, but like that's not. But yeah. So my last 2 years was really stressful there, and I think he came like needing to come back and work because you need a job, and like you just really like. I think he was just burnt out at the end, dealing with a lot of again. You're asked a million things. How many voice lines does Darren have in MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries? Let alone, he's a community manager, but yeah, so I hope he's doing well in whatever he's doing, him and his fam. But as far as I think he was done with online gaming. And like I said, I had a pretty good confidence when I went solo that I could be successful. And the reason I felt that way is I was the one doing the streams.
That was your thing. Yeah.
I was the one doing all the YouTube videos. That's not to say he wasn't doing anything, but like everything that I do now, I was already doing. Like, and so I felt like I had the tools, I had the as to use the gumption I had the drive to be able to like continue doing it. So, also, like, just a little like as a Marine, like it's still instilled in me, like, I can do it, especially if you say I can't do it. Well, I'm going to prove you wrong, exactly. And also too is like, if it doesn't work, you pivot. Like, it's like being a streamer, this isn't me as far as like, it's not my identity. So it's not, that's why I said it's still weird when people make statements like, oh, BattleTech, that's cool. I recognize that it's still fucking weird. Like when you're
it's weird to be the person, like be in that
weird.
position.
That's still weird.
It'll never get not weird.
Yeah.
No, that's good though. But yeah, I do agree. Like, hopefully, like I feel like going forward, if they bring out more MechWarrior titles, it would be of their best interests to work with the people that actually bring people into the games. Like, obviously they could do their marketing and stuff, but like we're marketing for them as well. Like I'm making MechWarrior videos. I occasionally get a person come and say, I am new to this game, go check it out. And it's like, yes, do that, please. Yeah. We need as many people as we can. And it's like,
so that's what's interesting about marketing. I've had this discussion is that like marketing in this sense was, you have a lot of different companies that like use analytics and like they guarantee this many eyeballs and this and that. The reality is marketing's a freaking black box. That's the reality, is that you need a marketing budget, but you basically are chopping that and saying, I don't know if I'm ever going to see that. I mean, ideally you're using as much, you're doing it smartly, so it is effective, but the reality of it is there's no, like, it's like game, it's like stock. Like, you can't, it's a bit of a gamble. but you can be controlled in what you're targeting and stuff like that. I mean, do I think it's weird. It's tough because like sponsorships, like you see like Co was with clans, or when the last DLC came out for that, they didn't have any marketing budget for us small guys. So they couldn't be like, here's $500 for a 2-hour stream and some deliverables or whatever. My point being is like, and then I saw that Co was streaming. I was like, oh, well, that's where your fucking marketing money went, dude. Like, that's a lot of money. Like, and kudos. I love Co. I think he, like, an example of like what kind of, like, if the channel ever blew up, like I look at him, I look at what Pestily, I look at some of what they do where, like, for instance, I would love for the channel to get to a point where I hire a fucking full-time video editor. To me, to be able to have a business where I can support other people or their families or whatever. My point being is, like, to me, that's really cool. Whether that'll happen or not, who knows? But it's just, excuse me, it's one of those things where, yeah, I think if I forgot what I was saying.
If they kind of invested more into the
yeah,
us as people, like, yeah. Because like they could invest in Co, and like he's a massive streamer.
It's
like,
so much money.
It's
so much money.
He's going to ask for so much, and also it's a lot of viewership they get from people that won't know what that title is. But my counter argument is
you're paying a marketing company. You're paying his you're not going directly to Co. That's not happening.
No.
Did you ever see that clip of him talking about it when there was a dev in his channel, and he basically had to stop his stream, and he was like, you can't afford me. And you're just like,
it's like, damn.
Oh my God. But yeah, man, I it's weird because, like, how do you foster small content creators to keep, how do you give them a bone, and how do you also bring in new people? And I think where you sort of fall in, which is your age demographic. You also said none of your buddies played it or knew about it. And I think that's an alarming thing, which is the genre, the IP needs to not go like so far where it's like, you don't even recognize as BattleTech anymore, but like you need to look at the next generation and the generation after that. And so, yeah, I don't know, as far as marketing, bringing people in, I think the one thing, the X card factor is they're still MechWarrior, and I think if I think it's some of its budget. I think if PGI had a bigger budget, I do think they would create a better overall product. But that being said, one thing I think is lacking is they need someone very creative when it comes to mission design, and scenarios. Make it feel like a really fucking war zone, man. And that's one thing, again, being a veteran, being from, I've been to Afghanistan and Iraq, it doesn't take long to look at, why did they hate the Draconis? Why did the why did the Jaguars hate Draconis Combined? Because they became a resistance. You're trying to fight an asymmetrical war. It's fucking difficult fighting an asymmetrical war when you basically have someone doing everything in their power to survive and basically kill you, whether it's ambushes, IEDs and stuff. And it happens in the novels, by the way. And that's one of the things. It's like, and then you have this very strict system of how the Jaguars operated, just totally conflicting with, they just didn't understand why you won't capitulate and why are you still fighting? And like, you were supposed to be a surrendered people. And, and so, it doesn't take long to like put real life scenarios into missions where, but again, I think it takes creativity.
Of course.
I think it's lacking there at that studio. And I say that respectively. I think, And that being said, some old people went away when that layoff happened. Like some of the people that have been there for a very long time.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I
I
feel like
want.
sorry to jump in.
No, you're
I feel
good.
like with BattleTech as well, like a few times personally, I've tried to get into it, like the lore and learning about the different clan factions and inner sphere factions, if that's even a thing. And like trying to I've watched, like, people always point me to these certain YouTube videos and series that say, watch this. And I just still don't understand a thing. And it's like,
Yeah.
I
Tech
feel
Talks,
like
Battletech, Sven,
that's it.
Big
Text,
Red.
yeah.
There's a few others. So sorry if I missed you, but those are definitely good
But like,
resources.
yeah, like I've tried, and it's just, I feel like maybe it's just like it's also someone like
Read the
my age
novels.
demographic. It's just
Read the
like I
novels.
can't. The novels, yeah, the novels and
Start from
novels,
the novels. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Because
yeah.
I'm still like struggling to understand it all, which just doesn't help when you're trying to like play MechWarrior clans and you know you're working for the Jade Knight faction or whatever it is, and I'm gonna trigger so many people getting all my BattleTech stuff wrong, but yeah, it's like I just don't understand what's going on. So
Yep.
yeah,
If
maybe.
you, it's okay to be niche, but if someone comes in who doesn't have any affiliation with your IP and they're left confused, then you're missing the marks more. And I'm not, that's just the
Mm,
reality. It was like, so you're not explaining something thoroughly. The clans are obviously hugely, that's a huge part of BattleTech as far as the history and, and lore. But if you don't even know what that is, and that's also, they didn't even have like a glossary, they didn't have an explanation. So when you hear these terms, it does come off alien because it comes off
mm,
alien even in the novels to some extent, but you have more context. You know who, what, when, where, and why. You know, like even their jargon and stuff like that. Why does this guy look like he's the giant from Game of Thrones? Well, there's explanation of why. Like the whole like, there's a lot of stuff like, oh, they're genetically engineered. You know, like they don't, you know, like even insults or whatever. There's just so much they left out. Um, but also just the large impact of like why Tukey was such a big deal. Because like generationally, every, you know, 5 to 10 years, um, you know, that's an entire generation of clan warriors that would be relegated to
mm.
like the, oh, you're old now, you know, depending on the clan. And again, therein lies, not all clans are the same. You basically have your like right wing, you know, like, and I say right as far as like political right to political left. You have your
Yeah.
crusaders over here and your wardens. Then you have people in the middle. Then you have even people on the extreme ends of those. Jade Falcon. You have different caste systems inside. So it's just so complex. But yeah, man, I hope I've said this from the start. I I've played one game that has captured me, and it still pulls at me. That's Eve Online.
Mm.
I still have that calling in me. I want a game to be so addictive that it's a problem. Now, granted, I look at MWO. Yes, I've been playing it for so long, but like it doesn't. You know, when you play a game, you look up and it's like, holy fuck! It's like 6 hours later.
Yeah.
That's the type of addiction that like you know, and so I don't know who, what, when, or why. I don't know if that's PGI. I don't know if that's going to be a Microsoft Studio. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be someone coming in from outside. I don't know. I think we're at a weird time where because PGI has gone dark, we really don't know. We know they're working on a DLC 8. Obviously, it's coming out in May. We know they're going to be working on a DLC for clans. We don't know info. I'm assuming end of the year, and then an announcement.
Mm.
But other than that, I don't know. I don't know. So
Who knows? There's a lot of I don't know. I guess with MechWarrior and BattleTech in general, it's like what does the future hold? We don't know. But I think, kind of fun that way as well. Like you can, it's exciting because you don't know, anything's
yeah,
possible. You don't know what's
yeah.
coming.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, man. I think I've held you here long enough. Thank you again for being here.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank you
we're
for
definitely
having
gonna
me.
have to. Yeah, we're definitely do this again. I have some ideas that popped in my head. Again, the whole like telling a story. That's actually Yeah. I always have ideas. It's like executing it sometimes. I'm also like, I also just try stuff, and if it works, cool. If it doesn't, okay, cool, let's pivot. I don't really hold
So I
on to it.
think
Yeah.
I've been like, to jump on, like you said, you don't always like follow them up, I guess, with the ideas. Something I've been doing with my editing is like, if I get an idea, I run with it, and I won't stop running with it unless I literally physically cannot do it. Gotta go for it. If you get an idea, just see how far you can get with that idea, because I don't think it's never a waste of time, because it always expands your like skill set with those types of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you got ideas, write them down and try them.
Yeah.
Do them.
All right, man. My wife's gonna kill me, but let's go to wrap it up. I'll have a link down below for your channel, to your YouTube, and then of course Twitch as well. But just want to say thank you again for taking the time. I enjoyed this conversation. It was fun. We got to do this again. We can probably talk for another 3 hours and
easily
go from there. So, all right, man. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.
You too, Phil. See you later. Bye.
Hey, before we wrap up, I want to recognize the high command of the Mechbro Battalion: Chad, Jeffrey, McJiggles, Asgen, and Dark Rogue. Appreciate the continued support, gentlemen. You're helping keep the battalion operational. And if you ever thought about supporting NGNG directly, the Mechbro Battalion is there. No pressure, but it's always appreciated.